Doot, 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 doot. Mm-mm. All right, let's see. Okay, what is up, good people? Hope y'all are well. What is up, y'all? Hanging out real quick, popping in, share some updates, some interesting turn of events, which I think is hilarious. But let me the branch of service that you all served in and the years that you were in. Hope everybody is doing well. Let's see. Dun 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 dun. Dun. Okay. What's up, everybody? Bum bum bum. Oops. All right, we'll give it a second here. What's up, Michael? All right, we'll wait for this to kick back in. There we go. I think I lost you there. Alrighty, so we're live. We are on YouTube over here. We are on TikTok over here. Um, feel free to share the live, answer some questions, hang out for a little bit. I'm excited. Tomorrow we kick off our BDD course for our active duty transitioning service members. So it's a course class that has been asked for by folks that are transitioning. So I'm excited for that we're kicking off. Found out today that apparently I'm being impersonated on TikTok. So that's interesting. Another page with an extra P, veteran DP, veteran DPP. So that's that's interesting that someone I guess wants to impersonate. But if you get a message from me apparently asking for shekels or something, do not do it because it wasn't me. So there's that part. Let's see, Army 19 is still serving. Big bro Dre. That's what's up. We got Army guy, U.S. Army 01 to 09. Appreciate you. Welcome to the live. Um, let's see. Did a BD program 30 days. 30 days is tomorrow since the ETS called to be today. In the decision phase, I am. Okay. All right, waiting for the next part to that there. Let's see. What's up, Stephanie? What is up, Denise? Army 3 years. Boltman, USMC, got out in 2000, I'm assuming. 8. 8 years. Army, 11 years, 91 to 01, 91 Delta. Air Force is in the building, 16 and a half years so far. Mafa, what's up? What is up? Yeah, so we got a lot of folks, a lot of more folks that are kind of, I guess, finding content um, that appreciate the things we're doing, which is dope and cool. So thanks for everybody who shared this with those folks. I think there's a lot of underrepresentation and support for like the active duty folks. Obviously, we talk to veterans and people who've been out of service for a long time. But what about the folks that are still in and are transitioning, right? How do you prepare to avoid the pitfalls and headaches that other people have been through, right? So that's one of the biggest things that prompted me to kind of put together this checklist that's in my bio and this class that we're doing tomorrow. So tomorrow's class, we're running it live, but then after that, you can, purchase the class and watch it and you have all the resources. So we built out the whole course materials, resources, links, references, where to find things, regulations, how things are rated, samples, statement samples, a copy of the slide and things that we'll do. So it'll be a good class for sure. So I'm excited. I'm in class tomorrow. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for that because again, it's one of those things where like, okay, what are people asking for? And I think this is one of the things that folks have been asking. So I am definitely appreciative of that. I will say though, if you are not on my newsletter, please get on that for a few reasons. I just found out today apparently that someone's impersonating me on TikTok. So that's interesting. So if you get a message from me, apparently on TikTok, that's not my account. There's a big difference in our name and followers. I'm not gonna ask you or try to get what you call it money from you or something like that. So that's one of the big things there. I don't follow a lot of people only because of that. So I think that's something that there's really no way to say it, but it's not me trying to be like a douche of not follow. It's just I know that sometimes that's how these accounts do that, right? So in my case, I'll accept messages, but I'm not following back. So there is no like trying to have someone send you something like that. So you know, social media, it is what it is. But yeah, if you're just tuning in, let me know what branch of service you were in, and let me know the years that you served. If you're active duty, I'm excited that tomorrow we're kicking off our live course. I know one person I've reached out. He may kind of jump in halfway through the course. If you jump in halfway through the course, as far as like, because it's gonna be a live, so I'm teaching it live tomorrow. I told him, hey, don't worry about it because it's gonna be recorded, and then you could go back. But the biggest thing is this is a course more so to be able to plan ahead too. So let's say you're a year out or what have you, you'll have that reference. You'll have access to the course and all the resources. So it'll be like a class with modules and lessons and things like that. You can go back to it and you'll have the ability to reference things. So you're a year out, you'll have a checklist, you'll have things that are there that'll be helpful for you. Um, Man, it's funny. I literally just thought about something else I need to add to that. So as I'm doing things here, let me actually update that too because that's something there. Legend's good. He's over there literally knocked out. He's like, okay, you're doing your stuff. I'm doing my thing. Michael Hurd is still in Army National Guard 20. Awesome. Links in my bio for the newsletter. It's a bi-monthly, bi-weekly, every other week newsletter. So every 2 weeks, twice a month, we send a newsletter out. I don't spam. I don't do any of that crap. It'll be like topic specific. So like we're doing, how to do a thing or how to do that thing. So there is no like I'm trying to send you 1,000 different things. I don't like that, so I won't be doing that. So that's just a heads up there. Literally making a note to add what I just thought that we should add to the course. Um, Still in check. Let's see. Okay, be careful also on, especially on the TikTok side. Be careful with what you type as far as um, what you call it, keywords or medications or offering yourself, because it'll show that things are kind of taken out. So just a heads up. All right, let's see. We got Mafa, we got that one. Am I close to the end? Yes, you are, Austin. It's just it should happen right after you leave service, but sometimes a little bit longer. Um, I'm in tomorrow's class. Yeah, we got you. Sweet. Been 640 days since my stuff was sent to judge in DC. And no, that's that legacy. Just hurry up and wait, MSG. Sadly, but when you do win, fingers crossed, that back pay will be substantial. Hopefully for you. Daisy, great information, content. Thank you. I appreciate you for support. I thank you for the likes, the follows, all the little different things. It all counts. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would say. And I love it when someone's like, "Hey, I sent your stuff to somebody and it helped them." And that's the thing, right? Maybe you just need a video. Maybe just you need a live, and we can answer a question, help you. Some folks transitioning, and again, the course is like $67 and we have a whole bunch of things in there. So it's nothing like, oh goodness, it's crazy. You know what I mean? So let's meet our people where they're at and, create things and offer things for them. And we'll be doing more things. So I'm going to have an on-demand CMP class. I have a live one, but I want to do an on-demand one that's like specifically for you versus a replay. And a few other things like statement writing, talking to your doctor, things like that. So a lot of cool stuff that I want to be able to put together. I have a CMP, vertigo. Yeah, so for those there, do you know the recommendation, the Doritos, as far as how they're rating that? That's going to be one of the biggest things there. I always talk about the flare-ups on these things, how it gets worse, right? So in instances like this, okay, they only rated this much, but how bad does it get? And then if you don't have, let's say, a mental health rating, you could potentially argue for the lifestyle impact, secondaries, how or how that affects your mental health in other ways. So a few different ways for sure. Um, so there's that part. But yeah, just being, uncomfortably vulnerable, really just putting it all out there. That's the biggest thing. Being able to just, talk to, how it is on your bad days and normal days too, right? Giving them a baseline there. But yeah, especially the vertigo, what does that, affect? How does it affect you? What are the things that, you're unable to do? I mean, you're surprised. Sometimes it's simple things, but like, think about it, right? You think vertigo, like, oh, I get dizzy. I'm like, okay, how about the fact that I got a, smoke alarm going off. I live by myself, or I have to go try to change this, but I can't climb a ladder because I may fall over or I have fallen over. You know what I'm saying? Like making it to where someone can relate, how does this impair me, right? I have a shoulder problem or, mobility problem. Well, I can't help with groceries. You know what I'm saying? Like making it real in the sense like how does it impair you? Because sometimes we get real big on just painful movement, limited motion, but what does that mean in your everyday life, right? Um, Navy vet here. Wish I had more info before I get out. Struggle hard, and still am with Ashley. Check. Where are you right now in your process? Mo, hi, I'm back. What up? Marine Corps, 2005, 219. Freddie, let's see. Air Force, 18 years, so active. Check. Freddie, '09. Let's see. Air Force Army, 1990 to 2012. How the time flies. MSG 2022. How do I check out the class? Links in my bio. It'll be the first link you'll see there. You'll be able to see like the page and kind of read a little bit on it there. So I moved the entire site to a whole new website. So you have a login. So when you purchase the course, and again, this is just me being pretty transparent here. Uh, I wanted to. I did not like when we had our website before. I always kind of wanted to have something. Again, I taught before at university and things like that, so I always liked that experience of like being able to log in, see your course, resources, things like that. So in this regard here on our new website, I create a tinnitus, class. And again, it'll be like a freebie. So I'm saying it's like we could do it any way we want. But let's just say it's a tinnitus class, a quick 30-minute class, just a quick one, boom, get it. When you'll be able to get those other products and then it'll be on your profile. And let's say I do, a CMP on demand thing or, statement writing or whatever. You get that. And so anything you get will show up on your profile. So when you log in, you'll be able to see all the different, classes or, products that we have, and then you'll also be able to see the resources, lessons, anything we do in there. So like right now, let's just say I just thought about something I want to put into the BDD course. Even if I don't get to do that until Friday, when I drop it into the course itself, anyone who has access to it will get it. So as things move on, or we think of new things, or people reach out, so that's cool. I really like that. I like the fact that you can go to one place and have everything together because sometimes, you'll download something, you lose it, it's in your email somewhere, it's on a hard drive somewhere, it's on a Google Drive somewhere. At least hey, here's my all my VA claim kind of stuff, right? So that to me is cool. I like that. You know what I mean? It may not mean much to somebody else, but you know what I mean? I think it's just cool to make it simple for folks. I'm in the process of doing my claims. Marty, where in the process are you when it comes to that? Um, Let me see. Tomorrow's class is the BDD, um, navigating your BDD. So if you go, it's the first link in my bio that I have in there that you'll see. Um, I'm gonna be real bootleg here because I'm literally on my laptop. So let me see here. So when you go to if you go to veterans network.club with a link in bio, you'll know you're there because it'll look a little something like this. See if I can show y'all. Yeah, but that's what it'll look like there. Boop. Let me see. So you guys can see it there, and y'all can see it there too. But yeah, how to navigate VDD claims, your transition roadmap, and you'll be able to kind of scroll down, look at all the stuff there. But I like the fact that, like I said, it'll be kind of cool to see also behind the scenes. So like it'll have lessons and all those different things in there. But yeah, the link in bio, very first one on top is where you'll see that. Um, would you recommend I add secondary headaches to my? Okay, so that's a good one actually. Um, Actually, let me catch up first 'cause I think I skipped some here. I'm trying to get medical discharge. So it depends. You know, what I mean, I've had some folks that have tried to not get medical discharge. That doesn't work in their advantage. So be careful with that. Again, if it's one of those things where you can't continue, weigh out the options, right? What are they proposing? You know, is it over 30% they're looking at the discharge? Is it like a retirement? You know what I mean? Like really weigh those things out for sure to see what works out for you and also knowing what's the next step, right? And how far are you from retirement regular, right? So it really depends there, honestly, Marty, to be quite frank with you. Do you need a 214 before I can get my rating? Are you transitioning out? Because you're gonna have to need a 214 as far as that whole process. Navy 5 years. Any help with food? Where are you at right now, Ashley? Let's see. Over to tube. CMP on Thursday. Claiming GERD. I have documented the VA, but some cat out there is freaking being dragged. CMP Thursday, I'm claiming GERD. I have documented in the VA, but how can I get a nexus? I'm claiming mental health stuff in the same claim. Mental health, CMP went good. Brian, when did you get out? Well, when did you get out? Well, what are you rated for? When did you get out? And you don't have a nexus, I'm assuming. Do you have a diagnosis for any of those conditions? That's the question. Um, just noticed decision letter in my account, yet five deferred claim, just a waiting game. Yeah, Crypto Breezy, that's kind of what that is pretty much. It's a little bit of the hurry up and wait. They can decide something and they can just defer it. So if you've never heard of the word defer, that just means that the VA, let's say you file five things, they'll award two, deny one, and then the other two they'll defer it, which means we're not done yet. Still going to look into it, so we'll get back. We're keeping working it, but we're not going to delay other things if that makes sense. Um, so that's what that is. Um, would you recommend I add secondary headaches to my channel? If you have headaches, Mr. Six, you can argue it. You know, a nexus letter would come in handy to be able to say, hey, this is how this is caused by that. So it is an argument that is very common. Whether you go to the tinnitus or the hypertension, you know, you can argue them both pretty decently. A nexus would come in handy for sure, just to be able to do that. Obviously, making sure you have a diagnosis of the migraine would come in handy, and then also intensity, frequency, you know, and how often these things come about. So that's a big one, as far as that's concerned. I went blind one eye 3 months after separation. Applied secondary since I've had a sty, the eye still, but it was denied. Any recommendation? So actually, for that one, I would also look at, so what, first of all, what are you rated for? Because sometimes it's like you may have something that may get a low rating or no rating, but it's something that happened in service. So now the question is, are there any residuals or anything from there specifically that we can look at, right? To argue secondary. So there's a few ways to really kind of tackle that. Actually, I tried for 60. Um, yeah, so I literally, hey Salton, so I want to say I'm gonna open up my calendar again, so you won't see dates right now for my calendar because I'm actually stepping out for some family and doing some things, so I won't be available next week. But I'll probably add after tonight. I'll add some dates for when I get back the following week, so those will pop up and you'll see those there as well. So I gotta go do some dad duty there. But I'll add those too. So you'll see those tonight. So if you check again, you'll see them. But those again, I'm sprinkling them in right now on the one-on-one. Again, for full transparency, right? So some folks have wanted to add different things like the classes that we have, the workshops that we have. I teach a CMP class that's twice a month, and then some folks have wanted to have like a one-on-one strategy with myself, or a one-on-one CMP with myself, or something like that. And that's something that I can't really scale with everything that I'm doing. But I've started to add some dates. That's, you know, a paid session. I'm not pushing that, nor am I saying go get that. I'm just saying it in the sake of transparency, right? Some folks have asked for it. And for those that want that, that is an option, right? You can still talk to my team. We have an intake form. It's a free call with my crew. And again, it's very, you know, wave top, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of where you're at, what's going on. But some folks, you know, they kind of know what they're doing and they want a very strategic, hey, you know, one time conversation to get really, really into the weeds. Um, so that is something that I've availed myself to. And right now I'm doing like Wednesdays, Mondays, and Fridays because Wednesdays I teach classes. So Wednesdays and Fridays, you know, opening up a few slots. It's been pretty good. Have had some real good conversations with some vets so far who've, you know, reached out and jumped on the schedule. So a lot of those slots were taken up. So that's kind of the other thing there too. But I have to add, I have to add a few more. But I just want to say that because I don't want people thinking like, oh, what's this here? How come this costs something? Like that's not for everyone in a sense, right? You don't have to do that. That's just for the folks that have asked for it. So people ask, we respond. But I'll add some more. Um, but thank you for that. Rated 10% for IBS in the process of filing for a secondary. Can I file 10 IBS? Filing for an increase? Check. Can I head second? You can, but a Nexus AVML would definitely help for sure. Again, I'm DP, founder of Reddit's Network Champions Club, VNCC. Apparently, I have a doppelganger who has impersonated me on TikTok. So if you get a message from me asking you for something, it was not me. Check the username, DP, my initials, 1 2. So there's that part. Jump on my newsletter. If you're not there, that's one of the things I would recommend. Links in my bio. We do a lot of cool things. Check the links in my bio. You'll see all the cool things that we're doing. And across social media, same username. In the case that TikTok goes away, we're on YouTube over here and on Instagram and other places. So just a heads up as far as that's concerned. To TikTok. Let me see. Do I have to choose a time that comes between? Yeah, it depends. It depends, Michael. Again, when it comes to retirement time, if you have combat time, etc., you may be able to. If you have a disability to make, they have different programs for that. So you'll be presented with options as far as like, okay, you're gonna file something, BDD claim, things like that, will be available to you, right? Versus conversely, if you're looking at being separated, then that's where people are making a decision as to whether I should do this or that. So, but yeah, you'll have the ability, Michael, to kind of weigh out options. Just got my initial rating. Back on Title 10 orders. I have one secondary claim left. Should I do BDD or wait for the? So I don't think that's going to apply to you. It'll be a regular claim for you there, Uno. On the BDD side, is more so on activity folks who are not out of service yet. And as they're transitioning, they're being expedited to this process. In your case, it's just like a regular claim. So not something that necessarily you'd have to wait for. So you're good because you're already kind of in the process in the system. Let's see, right. Oh nine separated, Iraq vet, 10% toe hearing, 10 insomnia, 10, 30, and sinus issues. Check. Okay. And you got out in oh 09. Physical conditions, knee, shoulder, wrist, top, back. How can I show the med board? How can I show the med board is necessary? I don't want them to deny me and say that I'm no, like I said, trust me, you'd be surprised. It's harder for to stay in sometimes when that comes to the case. So it's not like they're gonna say, "Oh no, these issues don't matter. Let's go ahead and keep you in." Not usually the case. The turning dash, you're way ahead of the game. Like I've said before, you're way ahead of the game. So that's something there to consider. Let's see. I got 100% disability for multiple sclerosis. Can I lose 100 even though my disability isn't cured? As long as it's active, no, you're fine. Like as far as the MS is concerned, so that's a thing there. But sometimes for some people, let's say like the cancer or something like that, that goes away, that the rating will go down. But then you have arguments that you can make potentially for some residuals and things like that, right? So there's that part. I had symptoms in my initial paperwork. Should I do headaches as secondary? You could do it as a secondary, but again, if you could do a direct to service and complain in service, that's a direct to service claim that you could have there, Mel. So you could do either one, but if you have records of it in service, you go direct to service for that claim. How long after you appeal, move to a judge, review your claim, should I expect a decision? Move to that's a crapshoot, Michael. Right, if it's the whole judge thing, it could take a long time, so it really varies, honestly. So I really couldn't tell you. 90% trying to get to 100 preferably for my eyes. I'm still eligible for a coronary transplant. Check Ashley. Yeah, I think that'd be a good conversation to have because then now you have to break down everything you have in there and see if there are any increases or secondaries potentially that you can make on your side. So there's definitely a few ways. Um, Thanks for the follow. Wealth Building Analyst. I like your title. Let's see on this side of the house. Michael, 70, have 5 more claims in process, sleep apnea, static, hearing, PTSD, tension, migraine, head rate. Check. Have you heard anything yet? Any scheduled appointments or no? Sherry, hello. I was in Saudi, Turkey, Iraq approximately 8 months or so. Okay. When were you there? Hey, bro, rated 70%, 50% for OSA, static on my initial claim through VSO, who put Gulf War presumptive for my sleep apnea. 1 year later, I just received a letter proposing to sever due to, okay, let me see what else. Cleared unmistakable error. No medical evidence, medical literature to Tara. What is my so yeah, that's as soon as I read it, I was like, wait a second, there is no presumption for sleep apnea. So if they gave it to you for the wrong reasons, and then they're putting that queue, you could fight the queue and try to file it as a thing, right? But again, that's one of those things where it's like, wait a second, y'all made this mistake, not me, right? They could sever a thing. They probably won't go back and take your money because again, that's on them. But for you to file, try to keep it, right? That's an argument that you can make, for sure. So yeah, and now with Terra involved and stuff like that, but that won't give you a presumptive though. So how you argue it and how was it filed, how long you've been out, did you complain in service, so there's a few variables in there for sure. I didn't know sleep apnea was static. I have that now. We'll be getting CPAP soon. Okay. Okay. I was denied COPD, sleep apnea, etc. All the nights except rhinitis got 0% denied COPD because I smoke. Is that right? And that's making the argument, what I mean? Like people smoke, but again, what I mean? That's subjective to so many things. It's always like the thing where like, can they point to that? Yeah, obviously, but what are we talking about, right? What exams do you have to show that, hey, this is smoke related or this is my habitual use, etc. So there's a few different ways to look at that. Expert opinions might be needed to argue things when it comes to like that on your side for the COPD. Um, let's see. I had a phone call for attention migraines, got audio appointment, couple of days, psych eval next week. Okay, check. And 95 to 97, Sherry. Okay, check. Okay, let's see. Catch up on this side. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right, got that. Just catching up here. Okay, got that one already. Thanks for the follows, good people. Let's see. I have no clue what this member team thing means, honestly. I have to look that up because I have no clue what that is. Um, I am literally showing my TikTok age. But apparently got 17 people on a team. I don't know what that is. I have to submit VA before they'll give a rating. Okay, I think that was answered. When and why does someone include a statement and what does the statement do? So I always look at personal statements. It's a great question actually. Personal statements, I look at it like the sprinkles on top. So I have a medical condition, I have complaints in service, or maybe I don't, but I have medical evidence to help make that argument. Nexus letter, all these things. My personal statement speaks about how it impacts me. Buddy statements, etc., give kind of color to what they've seen. So basically, you're given a picture as to all the things around the condition, but at the same token, that doesn't replace the medical requirement, right, of the diagnosis and the events in service, right? Now, you can have instances where you have witness statements where they saw an accident or something like that, for sure. But like for PTSD, let's say, right, your spouse can write to the severity of your mental health condition based off that they live with you and things like that. So these are things that add, right, but they're kind of the sprinkles on top, right? They're not going to be the main aspects of a condition. What does static mean? Static means basically the condition that you have or you're rated for. There is no likelihood of it improving. So they're pretty much saying, yep, your flat fee is not going to get any better. So it's static. There's no improvement of that. So that's what it means. So they won't go and try to be evaluated because it's not going to improve. Arguably, it's just probably going to get worse. And that's what they look for reevaluation wise, if something is improved. Okay, and I gotta double down on the question on the migraine directed service. I use the cane sometimes. Should I take it to so Chris, you can, what I'm saying? Like again, it's not the cane things overall, like what are we talking about? Because they're gonna look at range of motion, movement, things like that. But anything that you need to get around or whatever devices you have, take those things. What I mean? Like I literally went to I literally went to I have a service dog. So I went to my CMP a long time ago for one of I think it was like an asthma thing or something, and I had to do a pulmonary function test, which is the worst test by far. And my service dog is with me, and I'm doing this pulmonary function test, and I had to do it a few times for whatever reason it may be. And every time I've done a pulmonary function test, which is by far the test of the devil, I have literally passed out. Like it's just like clockwork. I do like the whole blow, 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 and I'm gone. So I wake up and legends like, get your ass up, get your ass up. I get up and the little examiner lady, she's just there looking at me like, are you okay? I'm like, what the heck do you think, woman? Like, but yeah, yeah. Take the things you need. In that case, I needed my service dog with me, so there's that part. Um, but yeah, I tell you, it's just funny things like that where I say like, in my CMP class, I always talk about Sherry. I talk about something to the effect of these CMPs are not to provide medical exam treatment, medical care, treatment, medication, etc. And I always use that example as they weren't treating me and they weren't medicating me. They was like, this dude done passed out. Let's see what gets back up. And I believe deep down inside that they knew this was gonna happen because the chair was like the table, like the chair was behind, like against the wall, and the door was like over here. So my chair is against the wall. The table's like literally right in front of me. So there's like really no room. Like you have to kind of inch in. So I think they knew people would literally pass out. So like you got two ways to go: wall this way, wall that way, or the floor. So you know, the irony of these things. But yeah, Chris, take it with you. Don't have any questions today. Just wanted to stop in, let you know we appreciate you. Thanks, Chrissy. You are the cat's pajamas. I appreciate that. I'm gonna pin that. Um, you are dope. I like that. Thank you so much. Boop. Little follow back for you. I like that. Let's see. Appreciate you. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, look here. Let's see. Okay, we got that. Going pretty good, A State. How are you? Let me see. I get headaches during episodes. They're linear. Okay. Maybe Mal. Check. I didn't see the questions to that one, but I'll scroll here. So that was the statement question. So that's for that. Let's see. I was in your CMP class Wednesday. It was fantastic. My man, oh lady, I can't tell by names. I appreciate you. I try to tell people, man. CMP, I really enjoyed teaching at that CMP class. I've taught a CMP class. I taught a class on Wednesday, literally every Wednesday for the past 3 years. So I alternate them. This Wednesday, I'm doing my navigating VA claims orientation, basics of VA claims, and kind of how we do what we do in my organization. And that's a free class. And then next Wednesday, well, next Wednesday I'm going to be out. But then the following Wednesday would have been my CMP class, which is ACE your CMP. But I enjoy doing this class. I enjoy it. We get vets come in, and it's just a great, being able to do this. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a few good things. There's only but so many good things. So many things I'm good at in life, and this apparently seems to be one of them. So I have the ability to spend time with my vets and do this. So I'm blessed to do that. But I appreciate you were there. I'm glad that you found that to be helpful. 'Cause that's what it's all about. Zay, did I mess up? I don't know what the question was, Zay. It was scrubbed, so I didn't see what you asked. So I can't say um, whether you messed up or not. Um, my case is ongoing since January. That's not too long. How are you so knowledgeable? I've been doing this for quite a long time. So a Google search will find that been around the space for a little bit. All the folk been around the space for a little bit. That's all I'll say. But I have a slumdog millionaire type of situation going on. I retired from federal law enforcement. I was this military. I was an admin. I was recruiting. I was finance. I taught at university. So I just had a weird amount of skill sets, technology background, etc., command and staff, war college stuff. So my point is like I just had all these different things in life I've done that just made no sense, and I always looked at it like I just had different failures. Like, man, I tried to do this, that didn't work out for a period of time. I did this, that didn't work out for a period of time. And then fast forward to now, all of those things have helped me do this. And it's a weird thing where, sometimes like the joke, we we had a joke, my team behind the scenes, right? It was a question about recruiting. And the question was like, does anybody have any information or background or know-how on recruiting or something like that. And it was just like, I'm pretty sure DP knows. I think he was a recruiter too at one point. And it was like, what hasn't he done? So it's like the weird, life of so many things done. But no, this just clicked. You know what I mean? I just came to this as a person trying to help their wife. My wife's a veteran as well. And she's like, you better go get yourself some help. And that kind of threw me down the pathways of this entire process after a long journey. And I was able to get my rating. I was able to navigate the process, but I deep dove it. And again, I just have a superpower called PTSD and OCD. And I like to understand the rationale. So like the video I put up, I'll put up on YouTube, but on TikTok, I put up a video that was like, hey, I don't have any tips for you. And you'll see it. I do these lives. I'm asking you questions because I'm not going to sit here and just tell you like, oh, do this to get to 100. That's BS. There's no way to do that, right? I need to know what you're dealing with to give you an answer. So I kind of dubbed it. I'm not in the business of giving fishes. I'm in the business of teaching people how to fish. So the biggest thing is how do we explain things? How do we solve the problem, right? What is the veteran trying to do? And understanding the regulation, now how do we piece things together? So I treat claims kind of like maneuvering in warfare, right? We know what the objective is, we know what we're trying to do, and if we have the ability to make an argument and connect the pieces and align the resources to a veteran, we'll find that way, right? And again, sometimes there is no way to find. Sometimes there is no claim to be had, and I'll tell you straight up too, if there isn't one. But perspective, I think that's a big thing. I don't like the whole concept of throw things against the wall, see what happens. No. Let's really have these conversations and really help people. And again, the knowledgeable side of this means that I must have been talking to a lot of veterans. If I can do this live and just continue to do this like without missing a beat, because some people, and again, I'm not downing anybody, but it's hard to do this. I'm literally on TikTok and I'm on YouTube, and I'm literally answering questions in two places. And behind the scenes, joking around, it's like for me, this is almost like a game. You know what I mean? Being very transparent, this is a game in the sense that it's like I like to push myself. It's like, okay, I can do this. I like doing live classes. I got myself to a point where I learned a thing, I knew a thing, I got good at a thing, I implemented a thing, I helped others do a thing, I was able to teach a thing, and then be able to do things like a live, and then record and do content over the years, and then do something like this, just turn it on, let's just go. And then it's like, okay, well, can I do this also on YouTube? You know what I'm saying? Like, not just, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like a game, like, okay, can I push myself? Can I literally do a live in two places at the same time? And that's just the way my mind works. But after this stuff, I'll tell you what, I'm fried. It's the weirdest thing. It's like when you see a performer, somebody, and they're like dripping sweat. Like I am literally, because I'm literally running, trying to, read what you're saying, keep the conversation going, jump back and forth, get an answer, do a thing. So it's definitely a lot of factors that go into that. But yeah, a lot of time. Let's see. I think you can submit a CPAP diagnosis for secondaries with a yeah, check on that. Blad, yes. I think doctors they pick to evaluate are they're contractors, Sherry. Honestly, they're not for or against you. They're just doing the job. If it's there, it's good. If not, you know what I mean. Appreciate you. Let's see. Make sure that I see that one. Proposing sever. Yeah, you can make the argument to Vlad's point. The big thing is, if they sever it and you present the argument, a nexus letter would be advisable. So on the YouTube side of the house, check my live tab and look at this Q&A I did with the Met team. Reach out to Tara. She's good, and she might be able to help maybe with a nexus. 640 days to my stuff was sent to judge anything I can do to check on things. Nah, it's a herp and weight game, sadly, with that side of the house. I have a big list, CMP exam tomorrow. I hope that I don't forget to mention all my symptoms. So Daisy, on your side, I think you're good on, again, well, what if I'm assuming, I don't know what kind of CMP you have, but you can have a little note of things you don't want to forget. But my thing is always, you don't want to walk in there with a script, right? One thing is, hey, I want to make sure I don't forget to say this thing because memory or whatever. And that's fine because I want to make sure you get all the facts of what I'm dealing with. But you don't want to come across and be like, hello, I am Daisy, and sometimes I have difficulties with making friends. For sure, Andrew. But yeah, reach out to Tara. Like I said, that live Q&A part is there. She's good at what she does. And again, with that proposal, if you can make the argument as they're proposing that, make the argument, see how it goes. Worst case scenario, they sever a thing, we reconnect the thing, and go at it a few ways, right? So those are not the fun ones, but those are the interesting cases because a lot of things are happening. They're proposing one thing, so what do we push back with, right? So that's where strategy comes into play. My VSO didn't label my claim BDD. I submitted last July. Okay, yeah, it'll still go in though. So you're still in that 1 year period, so you're out now. I think you should be good. Where you at with that though? Just got decision phase today. How long? Decision phase? It could be days or weeks, honestly. But it can also go back if they miss something. So now it's going to post for them to go ahead and review your claim, see what's everything's good, check, their decision. Oh crap, you forgot something. Push it back to gathering evidence. Or this wasn't clear, or this opinion wasn't there. So don't be afraid if something gets moved back, as far as that's concerned. How long does it take? Okay, that was that. How long does it take to get for a design to be made, a decision to be made on CMP? So it depends, honestly, how many claims. The question was, how long does it take for a decision on a CMP? It really depends on a few variables, how many things were in the claim, you know, all the different things around it, volume, etc., whose desk it falls on, etc. So it could be, days, sometimes weeks, but sometimes longer, right? How long does it take for the CMP examiner to get the notes back to the VA? They have 30 days. So a lot of variables go into that, sadly, that can, again, go fast or slow. Can I file active duty pending med board? That's going to be part of the process there. So as you're doing that whole med board process, there will be also proposals of what they're going to propose to you. There also is the process of you beginning that process there for your disability claim. So you're taking like a similar path as like the BDD side of the house. I'm ready without mental health, but just put in for CMP next week for what can expect. On the mental health side, I'm really speaking about how, well, what you file for. Anxiety, depression, PTSD, those matter. For those who are still in service, document everything that happens to you. They usually compare medical docs and maps your current condition. How do you find a good VSO? Not in my area, Missouri. I mean, I've had terrible experience in Missouri representatives. And that's the thing, Sherry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm big on options and finding, what works for you. Sadly, sometimes it's slim pickings in some places. So, um, folks reach out to, organizations and whatnot. People might like it, people might not like it, but it's easy for someone else to say when they're good to go versus the one who's like, look, I'm looking for help. It doesn't work. Like I've tried it back when, and it just didn't work. I had to, go a different route. I get what everybody else is saying, but it didn't work for me. You know what I mean? But fast forward, I got what I needed to get, and I was able to move forward. So it was worth it to me. So that's kind of like process of elimination, as far as kind of finding someone. And for some folks, it's like, okay, like I've tried all that stuff, I'm tired. Um, but to Vlad's point, yep, if you're in, and that's why the class I'm teaching tomorrow, the BDD class is huge because if you're leaving service, you should know what to do, right? Get my checklist, it's in my bio. Start the process of documenting things, getting copies of things, getting seen, etc. Like it'll save you a world of hurt, especially now, right? You have all the resources to do things that way back when we couldn't do. Let's see, home 14 years, DIA caused back pain, can increase, what doc said. Now it's chronic pain. Okay, but then it's chronic pain, but then you could probably maybe do a lifestyle impact secondary to that there, user 982. Never hear an extra letter from telehealth appointments from out of state. Um, to get denied. So they're not so much that they get denied. It's a probative value. So anything you submit on your claim, they have to weigh it out. But for certain providers like psychology, depending on what state you are in, they do have licenses, things so like CPACs. So they have the ability to treat in different states. So if that license says that you are in a purview of their state, then that's fine. Because conversely, the CMP provider can do a CMP with you via telehealth. So telehealth is not a thing. Like they can't say they won't accept it because they'll do the same thing too. You know what I'm saying? I can tell you from the perspective of I know psychologists who have done work privately for veterans and also done CMPs for the VA. Same person, same thing, two sides of the equation, right? But no, it's not so much that you get denied because of that. Rather, it's everything put together, and maybe whatever they proposed weighed stronger than what you proposed, as far as that's concerned. And that's what it's about, Sherry. Like I said, you know what I mean? Like, this is what it is. And if some folks, want to jump in the class, we offer those things. If some folks, wanted to, so creating different things is my whole point. I believe in options. I believe folks should have that. So that's why I do things a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sitting here every 5 minutes trying to sell you on a big thing or like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we have things for sure. But, you know what I mean? If it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Do I have to take DBQ questionnaire to my private doctor, or they provide that? So your private doctor, you have to take a DBQ if you want them to do it. They won't have that. And as far as them providing it, they won't provide it to your private doctor because they'll just have you go to a CMP and they'll have their own doctors. All right, so I already got MSG's question. Jonathan, to get my subject sleep apnea rating from 30 to 50, once I get my CPAP, will it be supplemental? No, Lauren. So that's a good one. Actually, man, shout out to you, Lauren. I like this one. Let me pin this. So a lot of folks are really big on the sleep apnea, for argument's sake, and there is a rating for hypersomnolence at 30 under sleep apnea. So if you don't have a CPAP, but you have hypersomnolence, you can file that. That's rated at 30%. The question is, I now am going to be required to use a CPAP or, prescribe the CPAP. How would I file for that? And in your case, it's an increase because you're already rated for sleep apnea. So not a supplemental, not a secondary. Rather, it's just an increase, right? You're going to go for an increase, and now you're going to show, hey, I now am medically required to have this. Your path will be much easier than someone else because the hard thing is to get service connection for sleep apnea. So it's like you got service connected for PTSD, you're at 30, argue 50 on the symptoms. So in your case, now you're going to show that it's medically required. That's the key word here. Is a CPAP medically required? That's going to be the argument, Lauren, that you have to make sure is part of the increased conversation. Okay. Let me speed through to catch up. All right, we got Lauren. You have promoted my product and get good sale. You have promoted my product and get good sales. Would you keep working with my team? I don't know what that is. But all right. Let's see. Silly question. Are you more likely to get a better percentage if you're in longer, Jacob? Nope. It's the severity of symptoms. Next is linking sleep apnea, secondary PTSD. Next is also tinnitus stage. Should I claim it together separate? If it's all in the nexus and you can make the argument for it, yeah. Got a diagnosis for OSA. VA denied it being service connected. Just got a nexus connected to PTSD. Wish me luck. Check. So yeah, so you're going to do supplemental now. Where'd you get the nexus letter from? How likely for them to lower my percentage, Jamar, if you got better and you can show improvement? That's how they would do it. Several other things I'm unsure how to fight for the eyeball blindness. I think really kind of coming across for some other things potentially, Ashley, might be the way to go at it for sure. So Nada's point vision there. We've been trying to get my dad, who was a Vietnam veteran, aid in attendance. Okay, what have you done so far and how's that come along there, Tammy? If conditions are static and I'm at 90%, if I apply for increase, will my ratings not decrease? No, Andy, even if they're not static, again, it's a misconception that if you file for something, be careful because it's going to lower you. No, it means that if you're due for reexamination, they're going to reexamine you, reevaluate you. Conversely, if some things are static, they're not going to necessarily look at that. But let's say, for example, you go from 90 to 100 and they're going to slap a P&T on, they'll do a review of all the things you have. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of, okay, yes, these are static and this is whatever, and off you go. So not a thing to really worry about in the sense that more so new things are worse now, and this is my argument for it. Do things happen? Of course, but one thing does not trigger the other as far as like you automatically get a decrease because you have another thing. Okay, so Nayeli's talking to Ashley, so that's good. Ever help someone with aid attendance? A few times. We have had some folks in that situation, yeah. Not too many, but unique for sure. That test makes me puke every time. Man, look, I hate that test. The pulmonary function test, that is. Okay. Dun 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 dun. CMP tomorrow. What's it for, Josh? What's your CMP for? As far as tips are concerned, I need to know what you're working with. My claim says claim received since January 3rd. Is this normal? Yeah, again, depending on where you're at and them trying to do different things, that's a big one. Ken Reese in the building. One of my old coaches. What's up, my brother? Kenneth. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, we're hanging out here. A little YouTube action, a little TikTok action, because what's better than doing one thing? Two things. What's better than one life? Two lives. JR, just got my 100%. Do I have to hold this for so many years before it's permanent? No, PNT means by definition is permanent. So that's what the PNT means. The P in PNT is permanent. So it's permanent. Let's see. I've been scheduled for CMP exam for all my claims, but not for the sleep apnea one. Is that normal? Yeah, because it's them finding also subcontractors, availability, and all the things, where you live. So it's a lot of factors into when you have multiple things you're filing, how these things are all kind of spread out as to this now gets a date for this. So you have different types of CMP exams. This is like, I cover this on my CMP class too, but different types of CMP exams, right? You have in-person, you have telehealth ones, you have ACE exams where you don't have to go in, it's administrative review. You file for 5 things. One thing could be telemedicine, where it's like computer-based. One, you go in person. One is a paper administrative review. The in-person one's a hard one to get because they have to find someone with that specialty to do that thing. So that's why sometimes it varies with different things and how they're doing all that. But yeah, it can be pretty normal for the most part. When you go to your appointment, why can't you submit other ailments as well that you forgot? No, quick try. That's a great one. If you file a claim, you're not going to the CMP to file more things. So we have to understand that the when there's I always say this very simply. Again, I know it's like a rate or somewhere, and somebody's going to be like, no. This is for simplicity's sake. We got to break it down. There's 3 characters in the VA claim dance. There's obviously more. One is the veteran, one is the rater, one is the examiner. When the veteran files a claim to the VA, that goes to the rater. Granted, it's VSRs, RVSRs, and a whole bunch of people in the picks, but the rater gets it. That very rater in turn now says, all right, DP, you filed for this. 3 things, I'm going to schedule these CMPs to see where you're at. In turn now, they will get those examiners who are subcontractors to examine what you've claimed. By you giving the examiner some new things, that's not how it goes, because it's the rater who's called for the exam. It's also from a business perspective, right? They've contracted over $5 billion, actually, fun fact, of money for the CMP exams. So they're paying these examiners to examine your left knee, your PTSD, and your asthma. You're adding new things. That's not how it works. It won't trigger a new exam. You can't just add it. It's not how it works. It has to go through the claim. And if you add new things afterward that you didn't file, it kind of resets the clock because you're adding more things to it. So you're really adding a lot of variables to the mix. I don't really advise that. Sometimes, depending on where things are at, maybe you wait until those things settle. Again, there's different reasons why it can go this or that way, but absolutely not a thing where you want to add things at the examiner. And then here's the other part. Let's say I'm the examiner and I'm here to examine your knee. You're giving me stuff, but you don't know if I have the capabilities to give that back to the VA. For all you know, I just have a computer in the portal and I just answer the questions and there's your feedback. You're giving me stuff. I don't have a scanner here. Like, how am I supposed to give that back to the VA? You know what I mean? So it's a great question, but no, do not. That's not how that works, right? It has to go through your filing on a 526 easy online. I'm filing for these things, and off we go. Now there are instances where maybe they find other things in while they're doing a thing, like you went for your knee, they find you have not only instability but range of motion problems. Different story. But you can't just say, "Oh, by the way, I have also IBS." Those are only migraines. What does it what does it mean when they have a service connectability but it was rated zero? Jamar, it just means they service connected, but it's not compensable, so there's no monetary aspect, but you got zero, which is still something, and you could care. Yeah, all my conditions are static and I apply for increase. Okay, we got that already. Will CMP examiners have our blue button report or should we upload it? They should have all these things, preacher, as far as what's already submitted there. So they'll have access to your file because again, the examiner is saying this person's fine for this. Here are all the things pertinent to that. Doctor said to support him being assisted. Okay, now back to Daniele. Is there a status update on HLR on the BA website? It looks like it's just 0 to decision. Sometimes, yeah. It's been 11 months. Okay, you got that one. Was in your last CMP last Wednesday. I have a mental health PTSD on Friday. I can't thank you. Another one. That's what I'm talking about. Rico's. I was in your CMP class last Wednesday and I had my mental health PTSD exam on Friday. Did you find it was helpful? I hope it was. I assume it was. If not, you'd be like, dude, you're full of shit. But I appreciate that. And again, that's the other part too. Can't script it. Can't script it. You go live long enough, somebody be like, man, this dude showed up and he was late and he was joking and he didn't teach me nothing. Don't go to his class. But I'm glad that that was helpful for you. Um, let's see. Also, thank you for talking to us about this. It's really hard to fly and clear info, and that's a whole thing too. You know what I mean? Like, there's some people that like if you look at my videos, I'll show you where I'm referencing stuff from, like the proposed changes. I'm showing you where it says the proposed changes. I tell you what they are, and then like my last live, right? If someone doesn't have the ability to break something down Barney style, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just regurgitating something else. So, for example, if you don't know what's happening, you're gonna try to sound real smart, but you're not gonna know what you're talking about. For example, I could give it to you literally in about 1 minute or less. There's three proposed changes, a few more, but three proposed changes for these rating changes, right? What are they? Mental health, sleep apnea, tinnitus. What are those changes? Tinnitus goes back under hearing loss like it used to be, so that's how you file it, hearing loss. Boom, that's one. Sleep apnea change is saying prescribed CPAP needed to the CPAP isn't effective in treating the sleep apnea. So the argument is I required it to it's not effective for my sleep apnea. Boom, done. That's what it changes. Mental health, we go from DSM-5 symptoms and this and that keyword stuff to the Who That's 2.0, looking at different areas of life and how impacted are you. No more keywords, just different areas of life and how impacted are you in those areas. If it comes to my CMP class, that's how I teach mental health. So no change on that side. Those are the proposed changes. Again, if you can't stipulate, that's what it is. You either know or you don't. But some people sit there going all around making this whole big hoopla thing, and it's like, nah, man, break it down. Educate people to know what they're doing, not just I heard somebody say a thing, so I did a thing. Get your DoD permanent total ID. Now, yep, get that ID. It comes in handy. Did they not back pay properly? I submitted high level review. Any telling on how long it takes? It can vary. They should be able to back pay for sure. They did not back pay properly. You can submit an appeal for that and try to rectify JR as to the effective date on that. Um, Again, if you guys are not in my newsletter, what are you waiting for? Jump on that. I don't know what social media will do, but if social media stops, we don't stop. So there's that part. Tomorrow is my navigating your BDD class. I'm excited for that. So new class with modules and lessons and resources and samples and statements and all kinds of cool stuff. So that's link in bio, and then it'll be available for replay. So you'll have access to that. You log in, you have a profile, you have the class information, and all like all those goodies. So links in bio for that. Tell an active duty person if you know them. Amber, I am open to questions. Shoot them. Let's see. Does anyone know if COLA gets higher every year? For the most part, yeah. The proposed COLA increases. We always put it out when they kind of push it out. So we should know here soon enough when the Social Security Association, it escapes me now, but they usually kind of have like the first dibs on kind of what it's going to look like. So, but yeah, usually, but it ranges on kind of how they increase it. Um, Appreciate you, JR. I got denied tinnitus, however, I appealed. I was at Bell in Saudi. I just don't get it. And again, Sherry, sometimes the VA just gets it wrong. And this is the part where I touch on this a lot. Like if you look in either one of these social media platforms, I have a video up from last year where I covered 68% of the time the VA got it wrong on claim decisions. And that can vary for so many things. Like you had everything right, they just got it wrong. Like if you gave them I have a tinnitus, I was exposed this way, here are the symptoms I have now, you can argue these things and push back. It's just the system sadly gets it wrong many a times. And sometimes you just have to appeal. You know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. I had one veteran who was denied migraines about, what was it? He was denied migraines 5 times, almost 4 times over 3 years. Eventually won it, but few appeals. Meaning it's a yearly automatic thing. Yep, it is. Full OSA secondary CPAP denied supplemental claim, any advice? How many times did you OSA second to MDD Nexus? That gets denied a lot, sleep apnea. So for sure, see what they actually said, the probative value, who did your Nexus letter, was there, sufficient evidence in their medical reports, statements, etc. You can argue that again, but that comes up a lot for denials. Any advice for mental health CMP exams? Mine says tomorrow. I have literally, are you ready for mental health exam? That's the first one, Wes. Are you rated? Um, and Oh, the COLA increase. The question was, is the cost of living increase automatic? Yes, that happens yearly. Not a thing you request for. The amount of the cost of living increase varies with COLA on the Social Security side of the house. Let's see. But yeah, Wes, let me know where you're rated at specifically. I had a CMP, and they rated me 70% off the bat. Is that normal? Your symptoms were there, so that's a big thing there. Andy, what state are you located in? Hold on now. Don't come knocking on my door. What you trying to ask for? Hmm? For PTSD. It's on symptoms. 10% gastritis. Have a doctor's appointment tomorrow because it's getting worse. I have hiccups, I'm assuming. Just got a decision phase today. How long? Weeks or days. Days or weeks, rather. Percentage is acknowledged, but they won't increase even though doctor's saying, what am I doing wrong? So the pain only will go but so high. That's the whole thing, right? So now we have to look at what are other things. So sometimes you won't have any higher you can go. It's got more painful, but the rating doesn't factor in more pain, more rating, right? Then it becomes range of motion. So maybe some other things to consider as well, right? I have to tell my story, but I feel like I end up forgetting something to Daisy's point. And that's the whole thing, you know what I mean? But being very honest, as long as you're able, back to my whole point of having notes, right? Being able to be honest and just know that you're coming across, that's the big thing there. CPAP due to my back injury, can I make that related to, you can, Harvey. A Nexus letter will help. Okay, let's see. COLA rating, it goes up for sure, automatic. 80% for migraines, zero rate. How's that possible? I was approved 80% for migraine, but zero rate. That doesn't make sense, Cheryl. Best advice, let's see, claiming PTSD, insomnia, and depression, anxiety. It's symptom based. I have a video on 50 to 70 and 70 to 100 for the mental health side of the house. So it's really about symptoms, your symptoms, and how it rates into the rating criteria, right? So you have to really unpack the onion layers when it comes to that. So I can't necessarily tell you a quick advice. I literally teach a whole class for an hour and I go deep into it. Like some people have commented, like the class has been helpful because you have to understand kind of how how it's rated, but also how to speak to your thing. And I'll touch on that here in a second too. So let me just catch up so I can then go into that rabbit hole. I just did a service for Smash. Okay. For Shade. Oh, okay. Mental health, does that come deploy when it comes to PTSD? In regards to mental health, does being common deploy, man? No, it's just how you got it. That's all. Doesn't make it easier or worse. Told me finally attached a VA claims rep to my AMA indifference opinion. Okay. Let's see. Can you tell companies to stay away from predatory vehicle claims company? Again, and that's the thing. Yeah, that stay away from predators, right? But do your due diligence because sadly, the problem is you have some folks, man. Like, I you have the limited help, so it's a bastardized process for sure. There are some predatory companies out there. Yeah, you know what I mean. I have a company. You know what I'm saying. But I don't also sit here trying to prey on people. I believe we have different options. That again, if it's good for somebody, it's good for somebody. If it's not, it's not. But there's a difference with that, right? If you're just trying to get somebody to do one thing, then you wouldn't sit here for the better part of an hour just answering questions and not trying to sell somebody on something, right? Like give value, show up. If somebody needs more stuff, then for sure, right? Somebody wants to jump into class, say for sure. Somebody wants to do a thing, again, what I mean? A veteran can pay whatever he wants to pay. That's on him. But then my problem is more so on the VA side. Why is the situation the way it is, right? Why is it that these organizations that prey on veterans can flourish? I'll tell you why. Because, and again, I'm a veteran, so please do not take offense to this. But let's put our big boy pants and panties on here. But when someone is starving, they will eat out of a garbage can. When it comes to this space of claims, veterans are starving for help and attention so badly that they will literally go with a predator or go with someone who tells them something. Like, think about it. I love when I'll do this, and some no name person, again, please understand, that doesn't mean me hating, but a no name person with no profile, no experience, no nothing, no videos comes in, types something, and the other veteran says, thanks, so and so, I'll do that. And I'm like, what? Why would you listen to this person? Like, just because they said do something, like, it blows my mind, but it speaks to how we're starving. Like when you're drowning, you'll grab onto anything. And we got veterans that are drowning. Like I don't understand why the system is not getting this. I am literally at my ends wit here. And when someone says I can help you, like I don't give a damn because I've tried all the other things and it did not work. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, doing due diligence, but the desperation that some veterans feel, no amount of veterans don't do that thing. People are going to still do that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, don't eat from that garbage can. Dude, I have not eaten in a month. I'm going to eat from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Scrap galore. And that's sadly when we're at. Anything about BVE? Are they legit? Nope, I don't like them for request. So that's my statement to that. I know who they are. I don't support it. Okay. Okay, we got that one. All right. Okay, just catching up. Cola, got that. Mental health being, no, got that. Got that. Why would they say snoring isn't service? Because snoring isn't a disability. Um, Told me fine to attach my VA claims rep. Okay. CMP Great Examiner made 200 watched out for all your bids and helped a lot. Thanks, Ron, my man. I appreciate. I'm glad that the videos helped you. Um, I've had read people to get investigated. Recommend. What I've read people do get investigated. The VA can't even freaking get people rated rightly. Like, dude, yes, fraud happens, OIG happens, but again, it's fear mongering, right? So one person gets investigated out of how many millions? You know what I mean? So I'm not condoning that. My point being is that I don't believe in trying to make this like the boogeyman's out there to get you either. You know what I'm saying? Like, do the right thing, period. No matter, you know what I mean? Because then you're good to go. But yeah, I read people get investigated. Yeah, being honest, 100%. That's really what it comes down to. Being honest, 100%. Let's see. Have a claim ready. Waiting on STRs, service mid, service no while. Okay. What do you find for, CC? Tonight, secondary sleep apnea. It can, but it can also be just straight to service. But really more straight to service usually. Uh, let's see. The process is heartbreaking for a spouse of a vet. I love that people, and actually that's a big thing. Actually, I got people that come into my classes actually who are spouses too. One of the best things, I have to make a video on this. One of the best responses I got from our CMP class was actually a wife. She came with her husband to our CMP class, and understanding the CMP process and how to speak to your truth, the wife was able to better understand the husband's situation, which helped her write a personal statement for the husband. And they emailed back saying, "Hey, the class helped us write our personal statements and how deep we had to go into that." And for her to understand now, okay, now I see how that's looked at, so I can better support him in his writing. So that's a big one for me, the family. 3 statement letters from officer, severe obstruction, sleep apnea. I have a CMP exam. Okay. But again, it's really more diagnosis and need of a thing. Is it medically required? That's the way to rate sleep apnea. Is it medically required for you to have a CPAP machine. That's the rating criteria. People heard you snoring, people did a thing. That's just trying to prove that you had sleep apnea. But again, what did they observe? Were there freaking periods where you stopped breathing, etc., and what have you? What about the shade survey? As far as thoughts, what's the question? 100% for the last 2 years, VA called and said it was an error. What can I do currently? What are they saying is an error, Farron, specifically? What did they get wrong? 90%, three claims, PTSD. I'm 90%, wait for three claims, and they have to be 50 together. Yeah, if you're 90 raw, you need to have a 50 to push you over the way VA math works. 2 months since they looked at it, just waiting for someone to say yes or no. Okay. Farron, let me know why they say that. Is PNC only for 100? Yes, it is. Let me hire you. Submit. I won't submit you or represent you, but I'll sure as heck get you ready to rock and roll. Believe that. Um, let's see. Sciatica. Okay. Washington. I think you sent me a message. I believe. I think you didn't you just win your claim. I know I saw like a flash, but like I have a whole bunch of inboxes, and apparently I'm being freaking impersonated. So there's that part. But I think you just won your claim, didn't you? I think I saw you said something to the effect when I saw the like little notification. I think you said you won claim or something to that effect. 90% three claims. Okay, check out that. Will secondary claim increase the main claim? Nope, it's just a secondary claim, but it adds to the overall. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna make yeah, not selling one for sure. My husband combined disability rating 96%, but he's only being paid 90. So then he can't be 96%. Like the raw score can't be 96 because if it's that, then he has to be at 100, right? So but there may be some other things, right? There are some caveats where sometimes someone has pre-existing things that are aggravated, and the way the math works out is a little bit crazy. So that's different. Like I've seen those, but not so much. I talked to the VA 871,000. She stated the VSO don't get paid enough to care. You know what? So I'm not gonna poo poo because I got in my staff I got people who were VSOs and they left being VSOs to kind of work differently. I got a medical provider psychologist who they're bringing on people who were CMP examiners who are now jumping on the other side to help vets. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes people don't know about. But no, do you have VSOs that really want to? But it's like, think about it, right? I'm a VSO in this location and I service like, this entire county and I'm the only one. And I've been asking for higher up to send more people, more training, more resource, more money. And they're like, nope, 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 no, 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 no. I only got 8 hours in the day to work here realistically. And I got literally 50 people every day. What can I realistically do? You know what I'm saying? So I want to, right? But I don't have support. I'm overwhelmed. I don't have resources. And that usually is the case for many of the VSOs who really do want to help. So I won't. I could not, in good conscience, say and corroborate that VSOs don't care. I wouldn't say that, no, because again, it's not a high-paying, flashy job to do this. Like you want to help vets, obviously, if you want to do this thing. But I think then the realization of what the business is comes into play. And there's burnout too. People get burned out, you know what I mean? And it becomes like next, 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 next. And it's like, dude, do you even care? So some people, they do get burned out. That's one thing. But no, I wouldn't say that they don't get paid enough to care. I think people care, period. But they're limited in resources. So sadly, the product that comes out is what comes across as not caring, right? So there's a lot of factors that come to that. Are there people who don't care? Of course. But, as a whole, I wouldn't put that blanket statement on anyone like that. Different which holds more percentage value of claim. Nope, all same. It's just how you claim those things. So there's no. The question is there a difference? What holds more percentage value? A primary claim or a secondary claim? A primary claim just means this was caused by service. A secondary claim means this was caused by something already service connected. They're all rated the same thing. How you connect it to service is one part. How it's rated, that's a whole nother thing. So you could go, let's say, migraine direct to service to 50, or migraine secondary to my PTSD to 50. Same argument. But that's just how you connect it. So that's the first part for service connection. So primary, secondary, presumptives, how we connect the service is just the first part, and then it's rated by the same rating criteria for all things. Good question. Um, all of them. The Amigo, I like that name, the Amigo. Yeah, well, all of them. Again, depending on what you need. Currently, okay, we got that one already. Mental health claim denied as I appealed since I've been going to the VA therapy meds. The meds don't really count for that. That's really a symptom conversation. So why did they deny it, right? Is it the connection back to service? Because it's mental health. If it's everything but PTSD, did you complain in service? If it is PTSD, you could have not complained in service and still argue. So there's different ways that mental health can be rated. So what did you file for mental health, Marcus? I had anxiety before the mental health update. Does it automatically update? I had anxiety before mental health. Update, does it automatically update or do I have to file again? I don't understand the question, Juan. 90%, 3 claims. Yep, I already answered that one. Yep, VA math, CMP exam in the morning. Pretty straightforward, honestly. There's not really much that can be said to verify if you have well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I read that wrong. Unknown. I don't have any advice for you for the CMP exam because I don't know what the CMP exam is for. I don't know what you're rated for. I don't know how you filed. If it's secondary, is it primaries? Is it increases? Is it denials? Like, I need more context. The three amigo, yes. Can I take away 100% PNC fraud or some clear unmistakable error, but very rare? CMP exam, DBQ entered by the examiner via requested some type of assessment. It can happen, Jesse. Let's see, I'm at 80%. Can't work due to anxiety, difficult to approve at TDIU. Nope, it's not. You can argue that. There we go. Yep. 9 migraines. He said it was in service 293, waiting to appeal to the judge. You could go to the judge, but maybe you could have also done supplemental. Is being diagnosed PTSD by... Okay, let's jump on this side. Should I request rearrange coaching? Yeah, I think it's good for you to have that for sure. Sherry, you're welcome. There are people that care. Yeah, for sure. And that's what sucks, right? Like you shouldn't say that. Like people ask questions like, "What do I think of these companies?" The thing is, I've been in the space so long that companies that you all might see, they have fancy letters. You don't know who's behind it, and that's the problem I personally have. Again, to each their own. This is my face, unless you're on TikTok and see my impersonator. But this is my face. This is who I am. You go to my website, that's the first face you see. And I'm not doing it because I want you to see me. It's just that I just believe you have to see who you're dealing with. I don't believe in you go to a page and all this flowery crap of what they do for you is there, but you can't even find out who the people are. We're veterans helping veterans do a thing. Well, who the fuck are you, dude? Like I don't see who you are. And again, it's not about being Billy Badass, but it's like we're just what I mean. In this place, like it's hard to differentiate who's really doing what. Like I need to see a face, and it's hard to do that because you put yourself out there. Why don't you want to put yourself out there? Why don't you want to show up? Why is everything automated? Why is everything again? Look at my content. You see the comments. I respond to a lot of my own comments if it's my name. Um, there's no outsourcing here, right? Like people pay for engagement, they pay for views, and it's like, stop it. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's a numbers game, and I get it. Again, back to desperation, but um, some of these folks, yeah, I don't necessarily approve or condone or like or support what they're doing, but I'm not into the business of telling people not to do a thing. I just be like, hey, you ask me a question, I give you an answer. But if you can't see who you're dealing with and you can't put a name to a face, then I don't want to do business with that. And I sure as I can go pay a bill. You know what I'm saying? If I don't even know who you are. So I've heard some horror stories, sadly. All right, I think I'm caught up on this side. PTSD by behavioral therapist. Does it need to be more paperwork? Luna, the behavioral therapist won't be enough. It has to be a psychologist, psychiatrist. And the VA has to concede the initial PTSD claim. 4 months pending claim. That's sadly not too long. Do you have recorded classes that we can watch? Yeah, so I'm gonna add those, Eddie. So that's something else we're gonna be adding. So like tomorrow's class for the BDD will also be on demand, and then looking at adding like CMPs and other things. So that's kind of where we're moving to have like on-demand classes as well. Just found out the judge just fired your way. Can I appeal the different way? You can. You can look on supplemental. You know what I mean? Not straight to the board. I know GER can go 10, 30, 60, just not sure how much secondary to increase my primary. It's just overall VA math. So let's say you're 90% total and you get GERD for 30% of 10, which is not rated, is 3. 3 plus 90 is 93, and that rounds down to 90. So that's kind of how that works. Would the VA ask for assessment after CMP was entered by examiner? No, unless something was missing, yes. So there are instances where maybe they didn't fill out something and they want to get clarification. That does happen. DBQ had obstructive sleep apnea, but says I don't need a CPAP. Not good because it has to be required CPAP use for sleep apnea at the 50 range. Okay, I only Mel Gustoso. I only listen to you battle. Hey man, look, hey, don't be listening to me all the time, brother. Mess around. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for telling the facts. Yeah, I mean, that means something, man. Like I said, we've been disenfranchised. The system screws us. People freaking give us, like for many of us, even from day one, my recruiter gave me a whole long story of doing a thing, and that wasn't a thing. So it's about setting records straight, and building trust takes time, right? So I appreciate that, man. Obviously, I'm being facetious, but I appreciate you and recognizing, that what we're doing here is just that, facts. Need help with sleep apnea claim. They said obstructed, but I said I need CPAP. Okay, yeah. finished my last appointment for MedBoard and device. What are they proposing? Retired 2019 after 30 years, MC4 combat tours. Finally got my 100% after 2 appeals 2024. U.S. Marine. Semper Fidelis. Is sleep apnea just snoring? Nope, sleep apnea is not snoring. Sleep apnea is having apnea episode where you stop breathing. So that's what sleep apneas are. Those apnea episodes is more so like the whole like, and you stop breathing, not just snoring. Snoring is just a whole nother thing. But usually snoring and apnea kind of go hand in hand. But it's very distinctive to you stop breathing and then it's like, and you're kind of coming back to it versus I just snore. Mental health has declined tremendously, now affecting my work. I'm seeing a 30 increase. Check out my video, 50 to 70, 70 to 100 on mental health, Imani. Because again, if it's gotten worse, you can argue that to your point, but then being able to speak to how it's got worse. If you live in another country for more than 10 years, VA can't. No, people are expats. That happens all the time. Actually, I have too much anxiety for another job after I got let go. Caring. Okay. Washington. Yeah, 50%. Congrats, my man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That's congratulations. I'm glad you won. If you become a citizen of the country, nope. Expats. That's your benefits. Do MST case take longer? I filed in September. Still decision. Did 2 exams. It depends. It depends because there's a special section of the VA that handles those type of things there, Mel. So it could be a thing where again you're verifying a thing, checking a thing, doing a thing. It shouldn't take that long, but sometimes it does. However, it still means that your effective date is there. So when you get awarded it, you get that paid. Did not anxiety, but got DDD, sciatica, service connected. You can appeal the anxiety, and again, why did they deny it? Let's see. I've been done with CMP exams for 2 weeks. How long does I have to wait a decision with Chris? It depends. Weeks or months depends. Let's see. Consequential. DP, where are you? I'm right here talking to you. Sometimes I think they worked in San Juan. Let's see. Hames. What is HR requests? The service treatment requests? How do they make these decisions if Ray doesn't talk to you? It's kind of rated. No, they don't talk to you because it's the examiner who talks to you. So the examiner is kind of the eyes and ears of the rater, if that makes sense. Good evening. I got a question. I got orders for Cuba, but I'm a service and I want to purchase my first house once I'm back from deployment. Okay, so what's the question? I want to utilize my VA. Okay, you can if you have the ability to do that. Having diagnosed combat PTSD from a VA therapist, Luna, psychiatrist, psychologist, and again, the VA has to concede the initial PTSD. How can you go tonight to 100? I don't know. Depends what you got, where you're at. Let's see. Once the rating is given by the VA, others try to reduce rating on the road. No, it's various factors. If that were the case, improvement, etc. Anytime you see your provider, they document that visit. At the VA, yes. Okay. Atlanta. Something I need to worry about? No. It's a condition that can get better. MSC claim specialist. Yep. Okay. Require working. All my working signs. Okay. Sleep apnea anxiety because how bad? Deny sleep apnea because it's not in my. How do I supplement on your record? So again, nexus letters, things like that. To argue it's secondary, there's a few ways for sure that can go. Rod, PAC extended coverage to nuclear handlers, radiation. They denied me coverage again. Terra is definitely one of the big things there. The VSOs help you with SSDI claims. Nope, that's not their lane. Some vendors are running slow release exam results. Such exam being released. Yeah, again, it's just it's a subcontracting thing. Let's see. Is anxiety and depression separate disabilities? If you no, so Sherry, it's all mental health, but you only can have one mental health rating. So if you have PTSD, you're not gonna get rated for anxiety or depression. If you file for all 3 things at the same time, they could kind of lump it together and say PTSD with anxiety, depression, but you won't have different ratings for mental health, just one. Presumptive conditions after you separate are super easy. They're 1 3 conditions. Yeah, they can be. Yeah. Already 100 Club. Should I HLR for the 12 conditions that they have denied me when I documentation ongoing treatment? They can be secondaries also. I'm not sure since finding out about SMCs. Again, the SMC side of the house for like ED, or if one rating is 100 and the other a 60 or more, SMCS1. Again, you know what I mean? Depends what was denied, right? If you're rated 100, does it make sense? Sometimes you can be at 100, but you can still file a claim for something like ancillary benefits, and that's where some people don't talk about that either. Some claims is like, hey, I'm already 100, why file for that? No, because that's rated now. You have the ability to get certain things required for that condition. And again, unless you've been through that headache of trying to get accommodations for certain things, you don't know the headache that that is. So some variables there, but it depends, right? What, what's the rationale and what are you going to file for? Did CMP a week ago. I have a whole bunch of entries for you or someone else submitted to BQ. That could be all part of the CMP, so they're submitting those things as they're going back to the VA. Service treatment records, had to go in and ask the same question in September. Sleep apnea diagnosed in 2013 with CPAP, deployed National Guard. That's going to be difficult. How are you going to tie it back as secondary to something else? If my host has been opened up about MST, can I file information? He is rated. So that's going to be tricky there because you can, but they're not going to give you another mental health rating. You're already PTSD. MST is PTSD due to MST. So from a rating perspective, it won't make a difference there per se. You're just arguing to have it labeled under this, right? But that can cause a whole lot of processing to do that because he got rated for PTSD, and now you're also saying PTSD MST. So there's a little bit of things that will kind of go into that. So case by case, it really depends. What I mean, again, without more details to it, sometimes some claims are just principle, and I get it. What I mean, like, no, I want this noted, I want this corrected. I don't care. It's not going to change a thing of my pay or whatever. I understand it's going to open Pandora's box. I want this to be recognized. I respect that. So I'm never one to say don't do a thing, right? It depends what's happening, right? For service connected rating condition 0, can I submit a claim for them? If there's 0, is really an increase that you're arguing there potentially. Island flavored. Um, Musculoskeletal. Yeah, yeah. You're welcome, Sherry. Are they flat out denied service connections? Not even. Um, yeah, yeah. So, and again, like I said, if it's something that kicks off an SMC, potentially, yeah. But if it's something that's low rating, it's not gonna make a difference. Eh. But the caveat, though, again, is for the ancillary stuff and anything that's life threatening. If something's life threatening, file that thing. Um. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Sherry. Yeah, live in two places, jumping back and forth, doing pretty good pace so far. So I'm think we're current on both sides. I got some of my team on the TikTok side, so they're helping answer some questions, so that helps as well. But let's see, JC is Lord. Hey, I like it. Let's see, what's the maximum benefit for prostate cancer associated with camblogene? An active cancer can go to 100, but in remission it goes back down, and then residuals of the cancer can be argued. MST is an additional percentage. MST is an additional percentage, even if at 100. No. Can you explain? Mm-mm. MST is treated. MST is a mental health claim. It's PTSD due to it's a personal assault, basically MST claim. So it's filed under 781 alpha, and it's all treated under mental health. So even if you look at the rating criteria, they're not going to give you an additional rating for that. No. Stuck at 90% and try claiming everything I can get a break, Damien. And I think that's where strategy comes in, right? You have to take a look at not fighting for everything, but like let's look at realistically what makes sense. What do you have? What are some secondaries? People sometimes don't know what they don't know. I think that's a good way to look at it. And I understand, like, hey, I've tried everything, I'm stuck here, but this doesn't work. Well, it depends. Let's see. Why are people so passionate about? Hey, times are rough out here. I guess you gotta find whatever helps you get through the day. Let's see. Have they started to make it harder to service connect for sleep apnea? No, it's always been hard. What I mean, it's just a thing where now people are getting issued CPAPs like candy, and people are filing them, and they're getting denied left and right because they don't have proper arguments for it. So it just appears that way. But no, it's just a sheer volume of the VA handing out a bunch of CPAPs and veterans thinking, "Oh, the VA gave me something, I can file for it." Right? So for those that don't know, if we're talking the VA, one of the things that I cover in like my basics class is understanding that under the VA you have VHA, BVA, right? Veterans Health Administration, Veterans Benefit Administration. Healthcare is like Medicaid, and benefits is like Social Security. Just because you got Social Security, Medicaid rather, doesn't mean you get Social Security. Just because you have healthcare doesn't mean you get disability. So just because the VA gave you a CPAP doesn't mean they're gonna service connect you for it, because you still have to have in-service event and stressor connecting those things, nexus, etc. So those requirements for service connection is what's missing. You're missing other things. They gave you a CPAP, they diagnosed you for something, but how do we connect it back to service? Healthcare doesn't answer that. That's the part where the veteran has to make that argument. And more often than not, they don't make a proper argument and they get denied. Let's see. Um, all right, so that's that. They taking forever to approve. I submitted July 2023. I've seen some that take a crazy long time. So yeah, that's everything. What I got from active, I'm able to claim. Not eventually, actually, anything. Okay. And again, what's disabling? What can we connect? What makes sense? What's rated? Got the anthrax in '09. Anything for back act for that disability? No. 100% vet. Yes, those secondaries help. 100%. Any advice to who I can go for help? My sleep apnea, asthma. Have you ever gotten help? Have you talked to VSO? Have you reached out to people around you? Have you explored options? That's kind of the first course of action, I would say for sure. Um, Depression due to stress from military weight, sleep apnea. You're welcome. Um, and that's the thing, right? Um, let's see. We look like, hey, we got family in the building. So somebody said depression due to stress from military to weight gain to sleep apnea. You're welcome. Still denied. So that yes, it makes sense what's being said, but that's a problem sometimes too. You tell someone that and they think, okay, I'm gonna argue this. You're gonna get denied because that's still not the argument. What is the argument for the weight gain? How is weight factored into the situation? So depression from military still denied, sitting here approved. Again, that's good for you, Xander, but you're missing the point. That doesn't help someone file a claim who's been denied. You tell someone who's been denied for sleep apnea, do this, do that, you're good. Again, that's not the premise. And it's not me saying because your case happened, I can give you 10 that it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So understanding that if we're going to use weight gain, that's an intermediary step. We have to understand that you cannot file weight gain. Rather, you're saying something service connected has caused the weight gain. The weight gain in turn has caused the condition. It could be sleep apnea, it could be hypertension, it could be diabetes, whatever the case may be. If it's not laid out and the medical evidence is not supporting some of the things for the veteran, nexus letters help, supporting evidence helps for sure. But it's more so, I don't like the one phrase answers. Telling someone military, stress, weight gain, sleep apnea, you're going to get it. Okay, that's nice because it worked for one person, but you'll notice I never answer a question based off of I'm sitting here with this, so do that. No, I don't speak from the it worked for me. I speak from this is what the regs say, this is what our veterans are experiencing, this is what we're seeing writ large. So I don't answer something based off my experience. I'm answering something based off of what actually is happening in space. And from my vantage point, working with veterans across the board, I can paint pictures and tell stories and talk about things that's more so than one. Because again, there's many variables. You can have had a great raider who just said, good to go, there you go. But the next person, same claim, denied. Then what happens, right? Appreciate you, Copious. Um, let's see. That reminds me off topic. I'm in socials and have VA compensation that pays for meds. Should I get take it off VA because pay for meds? You can either way, Sherry. Actually, what works for you. What's going on, Lordy? My husband's 100%, but his doctor appointment's 8 months away, and that's the weight hurry up and weight gain, which is ridiculous. My dad is a Vietnam veteran. Salute, Eddie, to your dad. Um, Let me see. Yours, I explained my situation, waited patiently, answered. So, um, Sherry, let's see. Um, oh my goodness. Okay. Respect you too, Eddie. Appreciate you. Let's see. Friends who got out after me approved hypersensitivity. That's good. Yeah. Again, that's just it's just so many factors that go into all that. Um, uh, you know, let's see. How about migraines, headaches that might be tied to hypertension? Yeah, the argument could be made there. Again, Nexus letters help for sure when it comes to these different things. What's up, Pep? Appreciate you. Why do they do CMP exam for everything you claim? Why don't they do CMP exam for everything you claim? Does that mean my doc approve it? Sometimes they may not need you to come in. Sometimes they may not be enough to call for the CMP, so they'll say no, they'll deny it. So there's many factors as to why. Sorry for all the questions. No, that's literally why I'm here. I mean, like, I get it, but that's literally the live. I'm just answering questions. That's just kind of how we do something here. So never apologize, right? That's the whole thing, right? It's about showing up and doing something like this, right? Uh, no, you know what I mean? Like, if we ever see each other at a gathering or something that we do, then, I'll shake your hand and give you a hug, man. But, there's more than one way to give back and serve, and this is one of them. So, we knock out a few birds with one stone, right? We get out here, we create awareness, we answer questions, we show people different things, and we hopefully start making more noise, right? To kind of drown out some of the negativity that's just void. What's the longest time you've heard a veteran waiting for a claim appeal? I've seen by a judge. A close friend of mine, she won his claim in 2020, and it backdated to 2008. Let's see. So no worries on the questions. Next is, I've been fighting tooth and nail to get 100 no avail. I'm exhausted. But again, the British are coming. What exactly is the argument, right? Where are you? What are you rated for? There's so many factors in there. So I get the frustration, but like, where are we? And also the fact that some people don't have a way forward, where it's like there's no clear way there. Wow. Thank you, JCW. So look, again, I just said it kind of haphazardly, but factor that in. Veteran wins a claim in 2020 and they backed it into 2008. That was a long time fighting. Because we had worked together as I was kind of leaving as I was retiring from federal service. And for a few years he'd, we go back and forth and he'd pick my brain, all these different things. He was got, helped him some, but he was kind of doing his own thing. And long story short, here is this, and I came from law enforcement, right? So this big dude, combative guy, ex SF dude, just kind of looks like one of those old cat beard, like the typical think of, old SF dude. That's what he looks like. And this dude literally comes barreling down, the office and freaking, comes and hug and like I'm thinking he's gonna tackle me. So I'm like, oh shit, we about to freaking square down here. And it's law enforcement, federal side. So a bunch of, alpha males and alpha wannabes. So I'm like, oh, you want to dance? Let's go dance. I'm about to take a kneecap out because I'm not that tall. And he hugs me and he's just like, I won. And he's picking me up. And I'm just like, this is very gay. Don't look in my eyes. What's happening here? But he was so ecstatic because remember, this guy has been fighting since '08 for this claim. And he was so happy to finally have, got over this. And, he went from 0 to 70 and change, and the back pay was insane. And then that was rectified. He went for the next thing. But yeah, he literally cracked my back and gave me the only hug because I saw like he had no hope. Like when I tell you, my job almost was just at least to encourage him and like, hey, look, it's again, I understand like you're completely done with the process, but it'll be worth it. And it was, and he was able to move on, retire, and do what he had to do for himself. But yeah, it's incredible. So that's my story about being tackled in the office. Dun 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 dun. I just want to do it the right way. We'll support and guide and teach, but we won't do anything for you. So we don't do that. Ended up hiring a lawyer who convinced me that I can only get TDIU and now I can't work. See, that's that bullshit. And again, you can. It's just the income cap. You know what I mean? As far as poverty level stuff, you can come out of TDIU. You can file a regular claim. You can go there. So there's the few. You're not stuck there forever. Is my whole point. The bridge is coming. Worked for active reserve technician 6 years. When I got out, they lost your records. Is back pay gone? Nope. My paperwork. What can I do to qualify? Again, you could do what years were you in? You could potentially try to do some records requests, see what's out there. Sometimes records are missing, so you have current records showing the condition you have. Medical opinions help. Nexus letters help. We're kind of recreating the situation, pointing back to what happened. So a few ways. Sometimes records are missing. My oldest veteran, he's 96 years old. I was in Arizona a few weeks ago. He won his claim last year. First time he filed a claim was 95 years old. Well, he filed like back in the 70s, got denied, but 95 years old and won his claim this year. So a lot of records have to be recreated. Some things were missing. So a few different ways to really kind of tackle those things. The scientific evidence and DoD studies help. Yeah, those things for sure help. Jelks, what's up, my sister? I have no medical records, and again, you have no medical records from the time, but again, current records, getting seen now, severity, X-rays, things like it's building the case. I may have never complained that I got shot, but it's clear as hell this day that I have a hole in my leg, right? You know what I mean, like obviously I'm oversimplifying this, but those type of things for sure. Let's see. All right, somebody has an IBS situation this side. Wish my dad had this avenue back in the 80s. Now he's in the 75. He's talking about it. I'm 47. He did his best to maintain a family. And I actually have a whole video I haven't put up yet. And I call it the veteran. I've come to this place now where a lot of the things that I'm doing, like I teach my classes, I do it by telling a story about a thing. And I've kind of dubbed the story of the Vietnam veteran in the garage. And it's basically understanding, like to your point, right? These folks that did not have access to this, like one of my oldest veterans, he's 81 and he's always in our classes. And when he says something like, hey man, I wish you were around when I got out, I'm like, dude, I wasn't an itch in nobody's pants when you got out. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. Like I understand for many veterans, like, man, I wish these resources and things like this were around before. But even in his case, being a Vietnam veteran, he can still make an argument. Everything you're saying, right? All that goes into the total picture of what's going on with the veteran. Because for a lot of our Vietnam veterans, it was, suck it up and drive on. You got two legs, two arms, don't be a malingerer, get out there, be a man. Okay, and like you said, you do the best you can, but those demons are still there. You know what I'm saying? Like, to your point, like everything I talk about, Eddie, is literally what you're saying, right? So the fact is, we be fooling, and then arguably, as you get older and retire, those demons come back louder and louder because now he's 75, he's retired, he's not, hustling and busting trying to raise y'all. Like that life has passed, and now, a quiet mind is a devil's playground. So I'm finding a lot of our older veterans are really having a harder time because life gets quiet and those demons never left. So guess what now is the loudest thing in your head, right? Will TDIU will eventually be able to work? There's an income cap, so that really varies there. Parallel to medical evidence. Check. No, got it. TDIU. Yes, I see that part. Most claim involving judges are up to 7. And sometimes it's a little, it depends, Chris. Honestly, it's so many variables into that too. But let's see. Judges in the building. If you eventually want to work and make more than minimum wage, I would not recommend TDIU. But again, you can jump out of TDIU too and still file claims as needed. 8% just got out of the army. They wouldn't let me appeal. I was right with things. Should take. You can appeal the thing for sure. TikTok, you've been on live for 90 minutes. I'm going to take a break. I love it. Damn, 90 minutes. Ooh, let's see. How are you still working? Are you able to make a certain amount? There's an income cap, for sure. I'm a Hondo PNT 39 still work trying to get my. Okay, that's an option. Thank you. Did the request? No luck for that. Waiting. Thanks for the follows, good people. Okay, neighbor. Post them. Yeah, that's not TDIU then. Assuming they're reaching out, not gonna archive now. Yep. CMP results. How do I estimate my rating? Still BDD. I got this month. What does the CMP results say? There's a cap on TDIU, which is the national power line. What happens to TDIU is used, but you could drop it once full time. Yeah, you can. You can jump out of TDIU. 100% PNC retired. See private healthcare. Keep records. You can TC for your own whatever, but your PNC shut down, so you can still, if you need to, you can show the severity where you're at, but just for your own record really, but not something like they need. Every so often, it's also good just to kind of push it over to the VA so they have it. So that's not a bad thing just for records, but more so for care, if anything else, for sure. I went on terminal leave September, claims submitted November 1st, still being reviewed. Nah, that's not too long, sadly, Phil. How long's a record request from National Archive take? 6 to 9 months, maybe a year. I used to teach combatives. I really miss it. 100% PNT. If I try to improve my health, no, Elder. Because that's the whole thing. Let's be realistic, right? Like, I was a federal air marshal, and I don't say that to say like, oh. I'm just saying like, yeah, combatives and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's so many things that I can't do that I used to do, and I have to try to work out and do things just to maintain some level of a thing. Will I ever go back to what I used to be? No. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part, right? Like we've lived a life to do things that, I travel the world literally, you know what I'm saying? And, like today I can't feel my hands, my fingers, I have issues and things like that. So, there was a time where I could boast that I could freaking, shoot the freaking, wings off a fly. Not so much now, right? So, what I mean? That's the thing where it's like eventually reality hits. And for me, even working out or doing something, it's just to try to do a thing. But then of course I freaking was walking the other day and literally tore a ligament walking. So that's a funny story. I literally was going to see the beekeeper with my wife, and I'm walking, and I go to pick up my leg. Right, I got my service dog, my wife, the kids, and we're going to the movie. And I lift my leg up, and I feel a pop, and literally my daggone nerve literally pops. I didn't know what it was. So I'm just like, oh snap, this hurts. I think I popped something, right? So I'm walking into the, whatever. It hurts. I'm walking slow. I'm limping. I'm thinking I just popped the thing. Next thing you know, a few days later, this thing is hurting. And I try to pull my toe back and I felt complete pain. I was like, oh, gotta go see a doctor. And doctor's like, yeah, you snapped that whole tendon off. How did you do that? Like the tendon that lifts up your toe. And I'm like, oh shit. So we had to get surgery. We did the surgery, did the whole thing. I'm in a boot. I'm kind of 4 weeks post surgery now. But the funny thing is, when I met the doctor, right, the doctor's like, I recommend you get the surgery because if not, you're gonna have slow toe, right? Because we can't say the R word. You're gonna have slow toe because you won't be able to pick it up. And I'm like, ooh, okay. And he's like, you're young and you're healthy and you definitely, I was advised it in case you want to do stuff. And I'm like, doc, I think you're a liar. How am I freaking young and healthy? And I literally tore a whole tendon just walking, literally. When I tell you, this doctor looked at me, he was like, "You son of a b." He's like, "I don't know what to tell you." I'm like, "Exactly. Like, you know what? This don't make no sense. What's the reason?" He's like, "I don't know, but it was a quick ass snap." So, there's a story for that. Um, let's see. How long for records requests? Yeah, again, you gotta have errors. CFS hard to prove? No. Again, but CFS is hard. Chronic fatigue syndrome is not hard to prove, but the problem is that chronic fatigue, like insomnia, is hard to get diagnosed because they're going to rule out other autoimmune conditions, right? So, do we have lupus? Do we have fibromyalgia? Do we have other things or autoimmune problems? Once all those things are rooted out, like for example, I have a rheumatologist, and it took about 8 months of just care. You know what I'm saying? Just to get to chronic fatigue syndrome. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, but that was a whole like care process. Like I was just getting care because this shit did not make any sense. And we tried all kinds of stuff, and at the end it was just like, okay, you have chronic fatigue syndrome. We've ruled out all these other things. Kevin's in the building. My brother, the boot nurse, on the tube. So not hard to get chronic fatigue syndrome. Again, for those that are just jumping in, if you're not on my newsletter, what are you waiting for? Tomorrow we are doing our PDD class. So for transitioning people, active duty people, I'm doing a live class. It'll be available on replay, but I'm excited for that. We got a lot of cool stuff that we're adding to that. So it's like a whole login, and you have a course and resources, and we're adding all cool stuff to that. So I'm excited for that. And if you're not following me on other social medias, definitely do that because what do we call it? We have a lot of resources that we are doing there. I'm just seeing a message you sent me here. 8 service connected disabilities. What? Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna say names. All I'm gonna say is these people out here selling Nexus letters. They got real interesting things on their website, and one of them is service connected disabilities, and they list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So to make it like really nice, they're saying what these like 8 disabilities are, but 5 of them are all mental health, which is all the same. When I used to grade papers, we would call this fluffing up your paper with extra noise that didn't matter. God. How do you get a service dog? That's a good one. It depends, honestly. It depends on what would you need it for? Medical alerts, psychiatric needs, etc. Finding an organization. Some of them are pro bono free. They won't charge the veteran. Be careful if they do charge you. Some places are kind of shady. The wait list for some of these organizations can be pretty lengthy. So there's a lot of variables, but finding an organization, seeing what the requirements are. Some of them are going to want to have you under care. So let's say like your psychiatrist, psychologist, or whatever would have to concur and support and say, hey, this is something that I want to file. There's always hope for sure. I did that. I waited 37 years to file my first claim. Never thought about it. Didn't consider myself disabled, even though I'd been long. 10 months later, I was TDIU. Yeah, 100%. I said my 80-year-old vet, he was out for 50 years. And then Carl, shit, like 60 something. So for sure. Let's see. This is pretty cool. Hey, yeah, we're on YouTube and we're on TikTok. So we're kind of going live on both sides. So, yeah, answering questions here. When my dad told me a story and I told him to stop before he started a conversation, he told me, let me know when to stop. Insomnia pays off. I see alive. So the insomnia, James, it depends, right? They're treating it now basically as a standalone condition that'll be rated, but it's rated as a mental health condition. So the thing is, if you already have a mental health condition rating, you're not going to gain anything because they're not going to give you another mental health rating. Conversely, if you have no mental health rating and you have insomnia diagnosed, you can file for insomnia and that'll be a mental health rating by itself. But insomnia has always been used as a symptom of something else, right? Back pain insomnia, migraines insomnia, mental health insomnia. So it's not like a condition, but a symptom of a thing. So that's really like the big difference there for that one. Mental health is true and real thing. The base outstation is known as for exercise Cody. Yep, 100%. How long after the judge take to be made? It depends, Anthony. Honestly, I've seen quick, and it really just depends. Did a CMP a month ago? That's par for the course. Slowly waiting on the VA to finish processing my claim adjustment disorders anxiety. Check again. I've seen 32 days from start to finish. I've seen a year and change. Like it's just all over the place, no rhyme or reason. If someone has 7% for PTSD, could your unless it's been an improvement to that drop. So if you're 70% for depression, would they drop it? Is it improvement? And why would that be the case? They ended up combining PTSD and depression, 70% rating. Yep, because you can't have more than one mental health rating. So yeah, that's par for the course. Yeah, and you'll see that. So you file for PTSD, file for depression, they'll give you that. Man, I can't get over this 8 service-connected disabilities. Golly, the lazy work these people put out here, man. I filed my claim. Website says I'm about to receive a decision letter, but it says step 2. Yeah, they'll just send the developmental letters and stuff. Like we're doing a thing. We might need a thing. Yeah. Obtaining a nexus letter, my primary physician doesn't do them. What are you trying to get one for, Milton? What are you trying to do? It's been 3 years, Anthony. I missed the first part. Let's see. Even so, kind of awkward question, but I'm starting to do more research. As if I'm as about to go to my doctor, ask for certain things that I may have. Let me see here. Awkward question, but I'm starting to do more research as I am. Is it bad to go to my doctor to ask for certain things that I may even have explained all my symptoms with them giving me diagnosis? What said? You can never get them for sure to help. So yeah, I don't see that's a bad thing. Finally got a CMP notification for migraines, Kevin. Okay, let's go. What day you got it for? I don't like how they give you a combined rating though. For example, 50% for depression and 50% for sleep apnea. That's VA math, Cody. So it's really more so like if you're 90%, I would say it this way: if you're not rated for anything and you get a 50% rating, then 50 is rated, 50 is not rated. Any new rating goes off the new 50. The 50 is not rated. So if you think about it, what's another 50% rating? Well, 50% rating of 50 is 25. 25 plus 50 is 75. 75 rounds up to 80. If you're a straight 90 and 10 is not rated, you need a 50% to push you over because 50% of 10, which is not rated, is 5. 5 plus 90 is 95, and that pushes you over. VA math. Was diagnosed from sleep apnea from the VA. What's the next step? There is no next step. You just got diagnosed. Now, if you're going to try to make a claim for it, how are you going to make the claim? Are you going to go direct to service? Did you complain in service? Secondary something else? Is weight gain part of the process? So it depends which way you go with that. You can only get a rating for one mental health condition. Yeah, so they're gonna look at everything there, Brian. It'll be more a thing of like, okay, I filed for PTSD, depression, anxiety. They can't tell the difference between the symptoms, so they'll just look at the overall symptomology of things, and they can award PTSD with depression, anxiety, or whatever. It doesn't matter what they call it, honestly, as long as they give the mental health rating at the right thing. Because to your point, they're not going to be able to really differentiate the symptoms across the board. So there's no way to know that you have these symptoms because of anxiety and these symptoms because of PTSD. They can't do that. So that's why it's only one condition. And there's also permitting. Does it matter if you've been out for 3 years? One of my old vets was out for 50 years, another one for 60. Nope. Just a harder argument to make, that's all. Diagnosed sleep apnea. Again, how are you gonna argue that? I think I said that. Seen the judge, been fined for 10 years. Yeah. Some of those legacy appeals, like I said, my dude won in 2020, and that appeal was all the way back from 2008. 3 statements uttered by officer of sleep apnea, VA severely obstructive, now CMP. Check. Okay. Let's see. My dad dealt with PTSD with 2 full-time jobs. That's his whole thing, Daddy. And that's what I talk about that. Like, again, a lot of people that went through that stuff, the easiest way to keep the demons away is to stay really, really busy. So, like I said, the things I did, like I traveled, I was a federal air marshal, I was in grad school, I was a parent, like I did so many things. And while I was in grad school, at one certain point I was doing some adjunct work. Like I found so many things to do to where it's like, why are you doing all these things? I'm like, because a busy mind doesn't have time to go spiral. And that's how some of us sadly deal with things like that. So I understand that 100%. No date yet, got notification. Okay, check. They'll be calling or sending you a letter soon. When I was stationed in Montana, I had a pop and click in my hip. I was told that I wouldn't run again due to hip flexors run. Yeah. Let's see. All right. I believe the award the highest has been rated, but they won't combine more than one. No, so they can combine it. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. You won't have more than one mental health rating. So some people can, file for PTSD and they can't later file for like major depressive disorder, right? Doesn't make sense. But someone can file for PTSD, major depressive, generalized anxiety. The VA can do three things. Well, four. They could deny it, they could give you PTSD, or to give you a combination of PTSD, anxiety, and depression, and whatnot. So that really kind of varies. He's in the same spot. Yep, 100%. You know what I mean? So I promise you, I could describe your dad to a T, and more so because it's the same things that are happening. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole aspect of you're working two jobs, doing stuff, and people don't understand that. And it's just like that's the only way you quiet the noise down, raise the radio up noise, right? You know what I'm saying? But then retirement comes, life slows down, and I'm telling you, like when my career came to a halt, like it was devastating. And the things that I would say I can't say on social media because there's certain words you can't say, but it was dark. It was a dark period. You know what I mean? When you go from running 200 miles an hour, doing everything, to now I'm disabled, retired. What am I supposed to do? It was not a good period, to say the least. So I get that. That transition period is hard. Let's see. So funny story. I didn't get back pay for the increase because I owed the VA money because I was in the reserve and they overpaid me. So I got back 69 bucks. Man, look, dinner is on you, Playboy. We're going back to the taco spot. Kevin got $69 of back pay because you owed us some money. Just like, hey, Playboy, get that money over here real quick. The VA. It's funny, but it really isn't. Dark humor clothing. I appreciate you, my brother. How are you? Let's see. PTSD due to MST, also claim insomnia. This is how they group all this together in your claim. Yeah, yeah, because again, it's all mental health. Just following and asking questions got me. Let's see. Just following and asking DP questions got me from 40 to 100% in 1 year. Took like, screenshot that. That's what I'm talking about. Again, hey man, like that. If that's what you needed and helped you, then that's the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like meeting our veterans where they're at. You know what I mean? Ask the questions, pop in, formulate a thing. Like, again, there's many ways to do these things. I had a great conversation. I'm sorry to do like one-on-one calls and stuff like that, but I had a great conversation with some veterans, and that's what they needed, and that's probably all they needed. So, some need a class, some need this, some need that. I like options. Is it a bad sign if you have a CMP exam and then they request a psych TBQ and issue 2 months after? Part of the process, because again, what are they looking at? Did you file for what on the mental health side? Let's see. Oh, my rating, Jordan. I'm retired and disabled, so I'm 100%. I had to retire also from work and everything, so not just talk to my phones apparently. The taco spot. What's the name of the taco spot, Kevin? I was telling Yelly. It's funny. Kevin's here and Ayla's over here. I was saying something about the spot we went to, and I was like, "Yo, is it Shocky's Jockey something, whatever it was?" She's like, "Yeah, I don't want to go there." Let's see. Better than a head slap. Bad anxiety is super hard, especially in a crowded area. Man, listen. And then you have kids, and then you have to do things. They want to go places, and the things I could tell you when it comes to that. And then you, like I said, in my case, you have a service dog. He's great, but then that also raises my anxiety too in certain ways. Hmm. Dermatitis, eczema, shipyard exposure, Tanya. It depends on skin and all these different things there as far as like uh location, how much on the skin side of the house. Like so those are they pretty much vary, but they're not really usually high value per se. So it depends. Um let's see. Yeah, Torchies. Kevin that nail is Torchies not real tacos. We're going to spots where they don't speak English. There you go. There you go. I'll get him more information about he dealt with PTSD as a veteran from a Vietnam veteran perspective. Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. I've dealt with more Vietnam veterans that I can deal with, and I joke around like I say. If you come to my classes, you'll see. Um, uh, I started now giving a disclaimer. I don't have borderline personality disorder or schizophrenia, but you'll see I'll make video, I'll make content, and I'll switch between roles. And I'm not trying to mansplain the thing. I just think it just helps to make a story. So like I do it without thinking about it. But recently I've noticed that some folks are kind of like, but when I'm teaching a class talk about something, I'll refer to myself as a Vietnam veteran. And people are like, wait a minute, what? I'm like, no, no, not me. Or I'll talk about as a woman certain stuff I'm dealing with. Obviously, I'm not a woman, but my point is understanding the things we've seen. It's like telling those stories of the veterans we worked with, and it just helps to better solidify stuff. So I understand that people learn better with stories than they do with just trying to get technical on things. Um, so all the Vietnam veterans I've dealt with in so many ways, it's just it really gives a lot of things. I played chess with the VA. That's really the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's chess, not checkers. That's what I always say. Are they supposed to give you the appointment, or do you have? They'll give you the appointment. You mind? You mad? I separated 2 years ago. Can I still file? Yeah, you can, Rudy. I've had people off for 50 plus years. I need to stop playing and put another claim for this hip, which they have tons of X-rays on. Come on now, what are you playing? Let's go, man. Look, put that intent to file and start working on putting the evidence together. I got letters saying they would contact me, and a year after, they got papers saying that I didn't go to. Man, you can push that back, you man, because sometimes some of that stuff happens. Verify your address and things like that. So there's a few reasons. Sometimes that kind of is a thing, sadly. But yeah, I really didn't get anything. I'm like, wait a second, I was ready to go. Y'all didn't give me the appointment. Link in bio for my newsletter. Tomorrow I'm doing my active duty class, so I'm excited for that. Um, that is kicking off mañana. We got the class ready to go, got the slides done today, built out all the stuff for the class. So I'm excited for that. For folks that are looking into that, check it out. Check it out. Shout out to the people who jumped on the newsletter. So saw a few of y'all jump in. Let's see. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. And yeah, if you get messages from me on TikTok, I am not a veteran DPP. I'm a veteran DP, but apparently somebody's DPP, and he's asking people for some uh, shekels, money, etc. So that's hilarious to me. We made it, mama. People are impersonating us. Um, I need to stop playing. Okay, got that. I'm at 90%. Why is it so hard to get to 100? Because when you're at, let's say you're raw 90. First of all, you get a high value claim to push from 90 to 100. So let's say you get tinnitus and you're a raw 90. If you're 90 and you have tinnitus for 10%, 10 is not rated. 10% of 10 is 1. 1 plus 90, 91. 91 rounds down to 90. So that's where like a high value claim comes into play. IBS at 30, 30% of 10, 3 plus 9, 93, still rounds down. Migraine sleep apnea at 50. 50% of 10, 5 plus 90, 95, that rounds up to 100. So that's where it gets real technical, but just, that's really what it comes down to. It's a high value claim. And for most veterans, once they get to a 90, they've already exhausted a lot of those things. So secondaries are big things to consider and look at. And sometimes it may just be a thing where you're stuck there until, God forbid, things just get worse. So it's really case dependent on what the veteran has. And sometimes they're sleeping on something, like they're 90 and literally one of their conditions are completely floored. And like, dude, that's not a 10, that's a 30. What's going on here? So it varies. I work with veterans as a massage therapist. The VA sends me, I make sure to tell them to get their notes 100%. Suits, that's what I'm talking about. Remind veterans to get massage referrals. Hey, look, we talk about that stuff all the time. That's a big one there. 100%. Massages, I like it. Let's see, what do you do to fight lack of chronicity treatment? And then I let her. So there's many. So the question is, what do you do to fight the lack of chronicity of care? And sometimes, right, what is the things behind that? Some veterans don't have, a continuity of care over the years because they just, quite frankly, had no health care. They can't afford it. You have some veterans that they were given options. Like the doctor told me, I'll just use it as an example. I do massage therapy, do a thing. And at that point, it's like, look, you got two options, right? Surgery or pain meds. I don't want either, so there's nothing to talk about. So for some people, what I mean, there's various factors as to what was the reason. And some people just couldn't bring themselves to admit or deal with a thing, right? Like Eddie's diet, right? We just got work, we did a thing, we never addressed it. Why did it take you this long to address PTSD? Dude, that's always been there. I just finally got to a place of doing that. So there's many reasons why. Sometimes that's a thing that's missing. But then telling that story and understand being able to explain why those things were missing and showing where we're at now because again, yeah, I never complain about this knee condition. However, I have no cartilage, things all jacked, but I have my record showing I jumped out of an aircraft 200 times. X-ray show my legs is jacked. Where else do you think it came from? You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the biggest things there for sure. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of ways to tackle things like that when things are missing, but that comes up a lot. Let's see, that's a good question. Do you play chess? um I don't know. I guess the way I look at this stuff, I see it because, and also when I look at, I'd say for claims, I do look at it like chess, and my team jokes about that because I always say it's not chess, it's checkers. I mean, it's not checkers, it's chess. And the reason I'm saying that is there's things I would ask you to do. Let's say you come to you say like, hey DP, I want to do this. I've never done anything. There's a series of things that I would ask you to do that some people like will be like, oh, that's just too much. No, 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 because we're playing the long game. If you do things the right way, let's say you have a worst case scenario and you get denied and you appeal and you get denied and you appeal. I'm looking at this from like a boxing match, 12 rounds. If you have to go before a judge at some point, you will have a paper trail showing all the times that we had all the things in place to argue what you were arguing. So some things have to go to a judge, seldomly, but it's playing the long game, not just oh crap, I'm gonna go appeal to the board now, but you have nothing to show what you've been doing over the time. So playing chess means we're setting up everything to win decisively initially, right? Based off your proof, based off what you have. But if the system should get it wrong so many times, it's not you that's wrong. The system is wrong. So in turn, now we make the argument, and if it has to go before a judge, all the proof and all the things we've done along the way um, will be part of that argument. So that's to me is the chess aspect. Um, would love to bring my dad on so you can converse with him. Bring him down Wednesday night, man. If he's available, I'll talk to him. This Wednesday, I'm doing our orientation, navigating VA claims. And one of my Vietnam vets, he's always there with us too. So yeah, links in my bio. You can jump on it, man. Jump on Zoom. Hang out. I'll talk to him. Let's see. I'm fighting to keep 90% because of my stupid examiner. Let him know DP. Man, look, we got nothing but time. That's the whole thing. You know what I mean? We can fight, we can push back, and sometimes the system gets it wrong. But half of the fight for this, honestly, is not even the claim process. It's just having somebody in your corner. Like you know how to fight, but after a while, you don't want to get back up and get back in the fight. And that's where you need somebody to literally be like, "Get your ass up! I ain't hear no bell." You know what I mean? So that's really the hard part here. Like with Kevin, we've done everything. We know what the game plan is. Now it's just staying in the fight. Like my dude, George denied 5 times for migraines over 3 years. Trust me, he got demotivated many a times, and I'm like, kick, cry, scream, and then get the fuck back up. You know what I mean? Like we get there's no reason to give up here. Um, so obviously, it's very subjective in many ways, but yeah. We have groupings of system of mental health. Is there an actual secondary to PTSD? Not for mental health, James. No. You can have a secondary to PTSD of something that's not mental health. So think of it from the perspective of yes, you can have a secondary to mental health, but cannot be a mental health. So you can have a secondary to your mental health that's, let's say, migraines or IBS or GERD or something like that, right? Like those are things that would make sense, but you would not do anxiety secondary to PTSD. No. If that makes sense for you, right? So yes, you can have secondaries, but really think about it from the perspective of mental health. Once you have a mental health rating, a secondary to that mental health rating will vary from something else. It should be something else, right? They're not going to give you another mental health rating because that's pyramiding and it can't tell the difference, nor would it make a difference either, right? 70% for PTSD, 70, I mean, like it's not going to work that way. Um, do you plan on fighting a few claims, even on plans to go back? Eh, it depends, you mad? I mean, like that's the part we got like, are you ready to hang it up or you still gonna get back in there, right? So it really depends on what you're trying to do because if that's gonna stop you, then that's kind of your answer, right? What makes more sense to you? Can you bear through a thing? Arguably, what I'm telling you, like the biggest fear people have when it comes so again, I came from law enforcement. I get the people, I don't want to file a claim because they're gonna take my guns and all this crap and my job and my clearance and my top secret clearance and all these different things. I will say this. I understand that everybody's journey is different, but for me, I got to a point where I did exactly what people fear. And again, the agency did not take my stuff. I did not lose my rights or anything like that. But I could not continue doing the job that I was doing. I had coworkers that are no longer here anymore who checked out, themselves, to put it that way. And I did the thing that people fear will happen to them. I, pretty much rang the bell and said, "Look, I can't do this anymore. This is what I got going on. These are my disabilities." And I turned in my stuff. I did it myself. It wasn't a thing they took it from me. And it was not a thing of like, I'm gonna suck it up. And like, no, there was no suck it up. If I would have stayed in that thing, I would have made out with that freaking side piece. So, it was a thing where like there was no I'm gonna stick this out or do this again. Like, no, like it was literally I keep down this path, I'm not gonna be here anymore. So I had to make the decision that I had to make for myself regardless of what the stigmas are. So I get when people are saying like, "Oh, I don't want this to happen." Like, I don't care about none of that stuff. I don't think you understand. Like, you over here arguing about freaking your rights and your this and your that, which again, that's also false. But you're missing the point. Like, I'm telling you that okay, I'm about to go check out here. Like, f all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? There's levels to the game. Is my whole point. And people are sometimes at places where like, look, you have to take care of yourself. So if you're able to still do your thing, hey, do what you gotta do, all right? But if you can't go back active duty, all right, and you have to file. I got 10% for the knee injured, zero for the not for the injured one. That makes that that make it make sense, Amanda. 10% for the knee, I've never injured, and 0 for the one that's injured. And that's the compensating part. So my left knee is the one that got injured, but I then overcompensate to my right knee. Then my right knee gets worse than my left knee because I'm overcompensating to my right knee. Happens all the time. Lorenzo, appreciate you for doing what you're doing. I appreciate you. You're welcome, James. Okay. Can GERD be secondary to? Yeah, yeah. Mental health and GI issues are very common. I call it the oh shit factor, right? Like when you get a text from the wife and she's like, "We gotta talk." Shit, what didn't I do? Like I'm saying, like, why are you about to shit your pants, right? So it's a common factor that actually happens when it comes to mental health and like IBS, GERD, and things like that. So those are very common secondaries. What about this CRC specifically? Again, if you beat the requirements and you're there, that's pretty straightforward. What are you trying to do, Haley, on that regard? What does it mean when they expedite CMP exam? Many reasons. They're just trying to get it quick, fast done. There are instances where you got people who are, homeless bound or they have terminal conditions and they're trying to, push them that way. So they can be expedited to kind of get it done quick, fast for whatever reason it may be. Maybe a flash note in the system to say move this along. Many factors for that. I had a veteran who was stage 4 cancer, presumptive breast cancer, and her claim went by very quickly. But they also had that as a expedition type of thing because of her condition, right? Doctor also put another veteran's in for my exam. Apparently, I had like look and you know what, Amanda, screenshot this stuff, like literally screenshot this because when I tell you, uh, people think I make this up. I'm telling you, they will copy and paste thing. Amanda, the doctor put another veteran's information. Apparently now she has testicular cancer. It's not me making it up for the daggone freaking, for the socials. Like this stuff happens. You got men out here on some ovarian stuff. What are you talking about? Men don't have, what in the copy paste hell? Like you people would think this is a joke, but Amanda, I'm telling you, man, I've seen these things. They happen. And people think they you were like, we're playing up or exaggerating stuff. It is not. It is not. It is straight copy and paste. But here's the problem, Amanda. Imagine if it was not something that obvious, right? Like that. Some veterans don't read past the first page. Like imagine that you did not read that letter and all you saw was veteran Amanda denied, crumble, done. And it's like, girl, they said you had freaking testicular cancer. Did you stop reading? You know what I mean? So it really is funny because that happens, but how many veterans stop reading, don't push back, and don't know that they got denied erroneously because of something like that? Like that's the part that sucks. And the sad part is there's many people that saw that. Like it wasn't like just one person said this. It goes, through different hands and approval process to double check a thing. Let's see requirement. That's what my PLO told me. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So that's a good thing too because you get benefits on both sides. Excuse me. As far as the retirement side and the rating side as well. What college is best to maximize BH? It's not a college thing; it's a state thing. So it depends. Like San Francisco, New York, they have high um, BH ratings. Let's see. So my first time drinking with my dad, I was 34 at the time. I decided to ask him, are you sarcastic, F?" And he told me, it took 34 years to figure that out. I'm telling you, man, you hang out with some old folks, man. You hear some stuff. I'll tell you, I was in Arizona. There's some videos I can't put up, but Carl, he's 96. Some of the things he said, man, I'm telling you, I was like, what in the hell? uh, I'm telling you, it is hilarious what some of these older vets will say. Like it's good conversations. I had my doctor write that I walked into the office with no signs of a leg injury. It was a video. Oh my God, you can't make this up. Lorenzo said, I had my doctor write that I walked into her office with no signs of a leg injury. It was a video call. That's about as bad as the damn testicles on Amanda. Like, what in the hell? Like, but again, people don't read these things, they don't push back, and you sit there like, yo, what is happening? And again, that goes to show just how jacked up the system is. You know what I mean? Like, make that make sense. Since I have service connected back pain and it caused my work related injuries and more back pain left, can I get a secondary for? Yeah, yeah. You could argue that definitely the thing that's already service connected made the other one worse. That happens a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's, again, it is an argument because you're saying, hey, this thing caused that thing. So for sure. Eddie said, I'm dead. Man, look, Lorenzo felt dead. Well, no, Lorenzo and Amanda. They gave Amanda a pair of nuts and they freaking told Lorenzo his leg was all right, even though he just showed up just like this. Like, what? Oh my God. And Lorenzo, I'm completely joking here, so please don't take this. This is just a bunch of vets here late at night with insomnia. But could you imagine this shit? Like, imagine if Lorenzo had no fucking legs. And like he walked in there fine. And he walks up and he brings sends a picture and like, I got two stumps. What the fuck you talking about? I got no legs. How did I walk in here? What? Oh my God, I'm telling you, you cannot make this stuff up. You know what I mean? Like you have to laugh to stop from crying. But at least we can discuss these things and push back. But my problem is there's a veteran out there who has no support system, who has no one to bounce ideas off of, and walks away with just whatever happened. And they don't believe they can fight back. And it's like, I knew they want to follow this. I'm done with this. And it's just like, no, they got it wrong. Like nobody does that. Again, I'm not against anyone, but like in let's say Amanda Lorenzo, I see that crap. I'm like, I don't know what y'all talking about, but we're gonna push back. Eddie's popping, like, get in line. We're fighting. But that's a different approach to the fact of like, look, we're not done till you're done. And there are good people in the space, VSOs, for example, but they're not gonna chase you down. They're not gonna fight with you. They're not going to be like, hey, let's make this happen. Again, some will, but the bandwidth of how do you keep track of things, right? Um, it's difficult, right? And that's why I think you need more people in the space to help. That's why I support the Plus Act. I support more help. I support more things, more support, not less, because what we have is not enough. But, that's just me. Some of the doctors are wild, very much so. It shouldn't be happening. I'm getting a lawyer to resolve mine and get that removed. 100%. That is that's a cue, straight up, every day, all day cue. Like that is a clear and unmistakable error. Like that's the card to pull for that. Easy. Like no. What exact things does the VFW look for in your medical records to file a claim? Again, some not this VFW really, but they're gonna it really the same thing you would look for. It's more so what the VA needs, right? Do you have diagnosis? Do you have complaints in service of a thing? Are the things you complained about in some shape, fashion, form something that can be rated, right? You cannot be rated, for just like a surgery. Surgery is not something you rate per se, right? What was the reason for the surgery? A bunch of bet laid up at night with insomnia and nailed DP. My wife asked who I'm talking to. Hey man, look, it's a late night insomnia claim hour, man. Like, this is the way. This is the way. Let's see. How can you start building me a love me binder to make the process easier? I had one. I had an I Love Me binder where I had all my stuff. Again, my OCDness. I like to, package everything I needed to put in my claims. So I kind of did like a little package for all the stuff that I needed there. But really, again, diagnosis, medical records, supporting statements, nexus letters if you need them, etc., forms to fill out for that, personal statements, buddy statements, all these different things are all things that for sure you can put in there. Um, I have a question. Any experience on Julitis? My girl got LOD and still got denied. Why? Well, okay, you got the LOD, but again, if it's the denial for service connection, because that's really the argument there. Like, it doesn't matter if you meet if you have the symptoms. It's more what are they saying, right? Is the LOD specifically knowing that that's the situation, the case, and as such, what was the rationale for the rating? When it comes to allergic rhinitis, you heard of veterans getting more than no, not without polyps, not more than 10. Experience. Okay, I got that one. Moises. Can you get 30? I don't believe top of my head. I can't say that in short life. I don't believe it. That'd be really really bad. What was the reason for the denial? I have a hi. Can I have what you got, anonymous? What you got? I'm gonna start wrapping up here. What time is it? Yeah, well, a little 5 minute warning. And we shall start wrapping. But if you're not following, same username on the tube and on the talk, should things get banned. But the best way is to jump on the newsletter because then at least you'll be able to know what's happening. Tomorrow we kick off class for our active duty transitioning service members, and then Wednesday night our other class for navigating VA claims. So feel free to jump into that. That's a big one there. What about toes specifically? For sure, Eddie. For sure. Let's see. But yeah, Wednesday night we're back at it. Navigating VA claims and how we help vets do a thing. So that's going to be good. Most classes about 45 minutes, and then Q&A. So we'll just sit just like this. I'll just sit here answering questions afterward, and that's always a little bit better as far as that's concerned. Let's see. Oh, is that what this is? Regularly not able to sleep. Maybe something to look into. Insomnia. Milton. Yeah, this is definitely insomnia to a good degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, oh, what's the optimal time for going live? I don't know. When I fucking can't sleep. Wednesday night, yeah, Wednesday night. I do the next class. Links to my bio for that. So this Wednesday, it's navigating VA claims, kind of our orientation basics class, and that'll be about 45, you know, 45 to 60 minutes, usually an hour. I'll cover the entirety of claims, how we do a thing, how we help veterans, things like that, and then we'll do Q&A until folks are done. So that's like an hour Q&A afterward. People can jump off, as they need, so it's not a big thing. It's in Zoom, so there's everybody starts at the same time, and I can kind of guide us through a conversation because, like on social here, this is good, but people kind of pop in, pop out, so it's always kind of like a repeating of the same questions. Whereas in class, we all move through the topic at a certain time. Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week is orientation. Next week would have been ACE or CMP, but that's not until now April because I'm out next week. So yeah, in the past 3 years, I've done a Wednesday class, and this coming Wednesday, I am going to not do the class because I won't be around. But I've done the class from remote locations, and my wife was not too happy. Thanks for the follow. CMP tomorrow. Wish me luck. Thanks for all the info. For sure, Adam. What you got tomorrow? What's the CMP for? Appreciate you, Eddie. Anonymous, I'll wait for your question. Let's see, we have something there. You need a late night TV show. Late night TV show we all need. Appreciate you using TikTok and IG. Hey, hey, what I mean? It all started with like one person watching. I have a video that I won't probably post. It may get posted. I may not post it. Who knows? I tried to do a video the other day, and it was a whole mess. So one of the veterans I've posted a few times, way back when, like one of the first veterans. His name is Jerry, and whatchamacallit, he has dementia and he's fading. And he reached out not too long ago, just kind of saying kind of what he was dealing with. And Range, what's going on, my brother? Man, a blast from the past. One of my old fan brothers, man. How are you holding up, my man? Range Herring. Man, that's one thing. One thing with names, man, is the craziest thing. I had a vet pop up on the live one day, and I remember there was a veteran I worked with like back in 2019, and he's like, "How'd you remember?" I'm like, "I don't know." But yeah, Jerry, he has dementia. He's fading, and it sucks because there was a time where I used to do like a Friday Night Live show and whatnot, and that stopped doing that for a little bit. But he would be like, and for me, it was always like, I don't want to do this. Like there'd be times I don't want to do the show, and it was like, well, Jerry's gonna show up, and I literally did it for Jerry. You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of the motivation for a long time, right? So the video I was trying to record the other day was about time, right? Like literally, time is the only variable we can't get back. And filing a claim, I get all that stuff. I understand, don't pay for this, don't pay for that. Man, fuck all that. It's time. You don't have time. And this veteran's case, he came to my first conversation with Jerry was April 2019, and he went to 100% in last year, 2023. Yeah, it was the early part of last year, spring 2023. He went to 100%, right? So long time, but he won his claim, went to 100, and Vietnam veteran, older, has dementia. And what sucks is, what I mean, like he came out in San Antonio. Some of the pictures we posted, he was out there with us, and it was good to spend that time with him. But it sucks that this business also exposes us to people that we care about, we grow fond of, but time, I can't control that. I can't control the fact that we have people with serious disabilities, and some of them, sadly, they pass because of them. But it really hits different when you have someone who's literally reaching out saying what they appreciate about you. And I was trying to make that video, and I could not get emotional. So this time I could say it a little bit better because I'm trying to speed through it without thinking about it. So I figured out how, I know how to sometimes compartmentalize, but in that day, that entire day, it just hurt a lot because here's this, this grown man, this veteran, what I mean, who lived the whole life, and he's like, I appreciate you, and I want to be able to meet again and do something because my memory's fading, and I have to go into a facility for someone with my condition. And when someone is telling you that, hey, I'm fading, I mean, like that hurts, because it's like he's not gonna remember, you know, the times we spent, the things we did, and all these different things. And for a long time, he was the catalyst that motivated me to do a thing. Like I would show up, and it'd be like one viewer, and I'm like, okay, I guess me and Jerry will go sit here and do a thing. And you know, I just kept showing up with Jerry. That was like the whole thing for a long, long time. So he held a very special place because it was like a motivator to me. Like he never knew that, but for me, it was like, well, Jerry's gonna show up because he'd be like, hey, I'm excited for tonight. See you in the show, and they'd be like, damn it, I didn't want to do this show tonight. And this is like, well, Jerry just sent the message. I'm like, God damn it, Jerry. And of course, we would do the show. We show up and spend some time and do our thing. But now fast forward, you have someone saying, hey, that they appreciate you and they care for you and they appreciate the moments you've had, but they're starting to, lose grip because of dementia. It just hits different. So there's that part. Let's see. Wish me luck. I have a CMP for electrical nights tomorrow. Have copies of. Okay, yeah. Good luck. That's should be seizure. Again, Moses, have to look at what's the rationale for the denial there. So I can't really even answer that straight up. Um, Again, there's many reasons. Sometimes they get it wrong. There's no how. It's just outright if the things are there. Was there a nexus letter or something to solidify the argument or help the argument? You have a LOD, you have a condition, you can point it back to service, but they still deny it. Do you have a nexus letter or not? And sometimes you have to push back a few different times. So that sometimes just happens. Sometimes it's not a like, how does happen? You just got it wrong, right? So double down whatever they said it was missing, and push back. So sadly, that's sometimes the game with the VA, right? Range love job. Appreciate you, man. I'm starting to post more stuff on YouTube. The problem with YouTube is I just hate fucking thumbnails, man. Like I understand the game, but I got like 3 videos. I have no idea how to fucking post this shit. Just because it's like, what thumbnail do I use? Like, I literally want to put a thumbnail that says just look at this shit if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I could care less for all these things. But I got more stuff I want to post on YouTube, which is just better for some of the things I do, to search, to look, and things like that. So I gotta get into a rhythm to get better at that. But alrighty, Anonymous didn't get back with a question, so we'll see. The doctor said she's not doing Nexus because they don't know exactly what caused it, and that therein lies the whole thing, right? If they can't do that, you have a LOD, but would a provider do a Nexus letter maybe? Again, what's the proof? It's not saying that it caused it, but it's at least a probability, and that's really where it gets kind of interesting there, right? So you got the seizure, but again, now is that something that predates the LOD event? Those are some things for sure that um, are a thing. Appreciate you, Lorenzo. Yeah, I cannot do. I tell you, I cannot do that thing at all when it comes to some of this. I mean, like, and I think that's the whole point too, right? Like as we grow and do things, like some of this stuff to me is just I get the game of social media, but I just also don't have time, for half of the crap that you have to go behind the scene for this stuff. But I appreciate you, Lorenzo. Man, that's what's up. Let's see. Yeah. So I would say shoot me a message on the IG side. I'll put you in contact with a Met team that we partner with. They can take a look at it. But again, um, looking at it from the outside and not knowing the details, okay, something happened as LOD, but then okay, what is the etymology? Where did it come from? Is it something that just started then, or did it happen before, and you just happen to have had a seizure in drill status? You know what I'm saying? So that's where it gets kind of tricky there, where they may not have much to argue. So something to look at. There's a bunch of review that again. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like this is the rationale of how that goes, because they're gonna find different ways to fight that. But again, a nexus letter potentially having shoot it, Lorenzo. And doubling down. And sometimes, like I said, some things may have to go to the board. You know what I mean? It just might be a thing where they're just never going to approve it at the lower levels. So you may have to go in front of a judge, present all the evidence, and have them make a decision. Nobody wants to go that route, but that's sadly what has to happen sometimes to set some precedences or have some one-offs that happen. Yeah. How often do BQs will I get a rating? It depends, honestly. It could be weeks, months, or months, many months. Yeah, so it really depends. Uh, Set to get a Nexus letter for mental health. Okay, check. Yes, my man. Rock solid. Kevin about to make some moves. 90% TDIU. I asked for a referral to Zentu. My primary says I'm not. No, if you're that, you should get all the benefits on that side. So that's actually wrong. This shouldn't treat it like that. I can double check Lorenzo. Shoot me a message. I want to say I can ask Amy because I know she was TDIU for a while, and everything should be afforded and open to you. So that's weird. Take advantage of TA's far. Yeah, no, those things should be available. So, yeah, that's weird. But I can double check that because I know I've had some folks that were TDIU, then they went, PNT and whatnot. But sometimes the system be kind of funky. Um, let's see. Okay. But aside of that, make sure that y'all are on the waiting list. Tomorrow we do our class, so sign up for that. We'll close at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard tomorrow. So if you know someone jumping into the class, you have until 7 p.m. to jump into that class. Let's see. Yeah, and then Wednesday we're doing our class. I'll check some of my inboxes. So I think I might have some bets that I may, you know, give some freebies to. So we'll see. I'll see who messages. But I appreciate y'all for hanging out for sure. I appreciate you, Lorenzo. Um, I mean, it's weird because the hospital has different diagnoses and LOD. So that could be too. The diagnosis, it all has to match. And the thing is, Moses, it's if things are not all jiving, that's what works against the veteran. So in that case, if it's a different diagnosis at the hospital and the LOD says something else, and then you file for this, that inconsistency, they'll shoot it down every day of the week. So sometimes those things have to be in way. But again, the LOD can be written a certain way because again, they're not medical professionals. They don't know what it is. The actual ER does know what it is. So even then, right, was that argued and was that factored in that even though this says that? So that's where a nexus letter come kind of helps because a nexus letter would say, hey, for example, medical professional so and so reviews so and so's thing. I look at this. This actually means that. So yeah, this was what the LOD said. But really, what they meant to say was this, based off the ER, and then medical opinion, blah 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 blah. So a nexus, what I mean, like something to bridge that gap because those holes in the argument is things that they will uh, basically shoot down. Dum, bum, bum, bum. Okay. Uh, yeah, yeah. That question for the place, boy, boy. Uploaded pictures of my diagnosis. My diagnosis of IBS. Okay. You be doing parlays? Hmm? Who me? How long to schedule my first appointment? It depends, honestly. There's a lot of variables into that too. So it's availability and all these different things, for sure. Um, but links in bio. Get on the newsletter. If you're not following me on YouTube, do that because if things shut down this side, it'll be a YouTube and Instagram game. And Instagram is not the best for long form content and things that I do. So definitely YouTube has to be part of the matrix. And we'll figure out and do more stuff there. So I got a bunch of things to post on that side. Let's see. Let's see. You like? Yeah, I found them to be. I feel like your help is way better than first hand experience, and that's what it comes down to. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I don't. I'm never gonna be the one to say don't do a thing, Moses. But proof was in the pudding. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not selling myself. It's just if I can answer your questions better than somebody else can, that's a them problem, not a me problem. You know what I mean? So I believe in showing up and just serving and doing a thing and, let the pieces fall where they may. So I just look at things a little bit different, I guess. Like someone put a comment one time on one of the videos and they were like, I hope the person I'm working with is half as good as your videos. And I'm like, why would you do that? Just work with me straight. The fuck? You know what I'm saying? But again, you know what I mean? Like people get all up in arms. It's like, dude, it's not my fault that freaking your old help sucks. You know what I mean? And then it's not even this sucks. Again, it's just time too. You know what I mean? Like again, do you have the resource and time to do a thing? Like I've been here for the past, what is it now, 2 hours almost, answering questions. Um, you got some folks don't do that. Again, I have my company, I have my organization. I'm the CEO of my company. I'm not delegating shit. I'm here doing a thing. You'd be hard pressed to find faces of any other company that put themselves out there, and much less to actually show up and do a thing. You know what I mean? So they're trying to do the business of a business. I'm in the business of veterans. I think there's a smart way to do things. I think veterans need options, and you see the comments. People sometimes just need some of this and a little bit of that. But if whoever you're working with doesn't make you feel comfortable and confident that they know what they're talking about, then find somebody else. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I look at it. Like, I love when people start going into that whole like, well, I'm a so and so. I'm like, I don't care what you say you are. Proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? Show me. Right? Put in the work. Put in the you can't outsource this. Show up. So I feel like your help is better than the first hand experience. Man, yeah, I'm glad that we could help for sure. Um, No, like I said, I have different things. So I have classes and stuff like that. Some folks do require like a higher level thing, and there is, a model for that. As far as if you win, you can be charged a thing, but I don't promote that because that's not the priority as far as I'm concerned. I think some people just need this. I think some people might need a class, right? So I like different options of what somebody needs. If it makes sense, it makes sense. So I do it kind of backwards in a sense, right? I have advisors, I have coaches, and things like that. But that's not for everybody, nor do I push it. Which again is funny. Like I've had people sign up and they're like, "Have you heard of this company?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's my company, dude." Like I didn't know. I'm like, "There you go." You know what I mean? I'm not sitting here just trying to freaking force you to a thing. Um, let's see. New info on PAC Act does it make it seem like even if you don't have cancer, you get what we found. PAC Act is very misleading to some people because a lot of cancer, a lot of things, but there's not a lot of high value things there outside the cancer stuff. So, you know how that goes. Makes sense. Yeah, and just keep it straight. Like I said, I mean, I don't shy from it. Like, if someone needs, like, I don't, we don't charge back pay and all that crap. No, if you win, there's a contingency thing. So I explain all that on Wednesday nights, in our class to kind of break down how we do a thing. I don't pressure sell or anything like that. I just believe that, you know, there options to me is big, and that's one thing people don't have is options. Um, I think that some people just need a life like this, and you see people commenting that that's all they need is a video. Good. Some people needed one class. Good. Some people want to have a conversation with me. Good. Some people want to work with us exclusively. Good. Again, try all the different things. And for some people, like I've tried everything else. I don't give a damn. I want to work with you guys. Great. You know what I mean? So I just look at it that way, right? I don't know. There's a different way to look at things there. Let's see. What is it? Don't encourage. Don't encourage what? I don't know what happened. Let's see. All right, bro. Oh, of course, the hate. There it comes. I actually did a video review on beard care. If you just scroll down, I actually did stubble and stash. I actually did a whole review on a beard thing. It was hilarious. If you scroll down or like do look at review, but if you scroll down, you'll see one where I'm talking about beards and stuff, and I do like a beard care thing. It's funny. But Stubble and Stash, actually, he's a Marine Corps veteran, the guy who owns that company. So I use their products. One last question. Let's see. So since my girl got the nice supplemental review, should we file as a new claim or appeal? No, you can't go new claim. So you have the only option is now a higher level review or another supplemental claim with more evidence to write evidence. And at some point, you can piggyback. So you can go file claim, get denied, higher level review, supplemental, higher level review, supplemental, and at some point you just go to the board. So, but you're not going to do new claim because they'll deny it because you've been denied for it. So you can't do new claim. It has to always be an appeal now. Just because the way it's written in secondary conditions. Yeah, again, but if they kind of if they start to see what you're arguing there, LOD again, same things, they'll know it's all in the same range there. So that's a slippery slope. Again, appeal might be the way, calling out exactly what it is. But again, if the LOD paperwork doesn't match up to what the medical condition is, then how do you reconcile those things, right? And then also, what is she rated for? Is there anything else that might be able to be argued, right? But this is where it gets interesting, for sure, as far as strategy. So those things to me are interesting. We geek out about these things because it's like, okay, how do we solve this problem? Because they're not straightforward and they're more complicated. So, okay, let's see. Do 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 do. But yeah, check that video that I put on the beard stuff. That's there. I should probably make a playlist about reviews because I just do random stuff. Sometimes they'll send me things. Apparently now people are impostering me, so make sure that I'm the one you're talking to because I'm not gonna ask you for anything. So be careful. I don't really follow anybody for that specific reason. Not because I'm too good for it, just because you know that's how it gets kind of shady because they'll try to follow you and then they'll go ahead and try to send you messages to get things out of you. I'm backwards. Send me the message if you have a question, but I'm not gonna message you, and I'm not gonna follow you because that way you can't. You know what I mean? It's just a shady situation. Let's see. Okay, maybe drop a new one. Drop. uh, let's see. Just because the way it's written, CMP exam in the morning. Tiffany, what for? Well, she had seizure and has not had headache, and she has not headaches every day and get this. Yeah, yeah. So potentially you can argue a few other things there, you know what I mean? And that's sometimes like some of the residuals, right? Now we're talking headaches, now we're talking about these different things, right? There's different ways to potentially argue that for sure. The hip issue was documented. It's supposed to be on Celebrex. However, I ended up having a hernia, which I had to get a surgery on. How to approach it properly? What's the current condition on the hip thing, right? So something happened in service. What's the current condition you have? And then from there, what's the level of impairment? and then you can argue what you're filing for on the hip side of the house. So even if you didn't file it then, it's more so saying, okay, what do you have now, and how do you argue that thing now? So you had the surgery for that thing, that's fine, but then what's the current diagnosis, and is it direct to service, which you have the records for, and that's how you would go about it. PTSD, MNT, retro to 2017. So you're not ready for anything MST, Tiffany. Is this the first time you're filing it? But they're all put secondary, so I'm guessing until the primary gets VA. Yeah, yeah, you can't do a secondary unless you have a primary. So in this case, something has to be in place for the secondaries to go, um, and that's kind of how by virtue that works, right? Um, but again, if the LOD, you can make an argument to that condition led to a thing. You know what I mean? So there's different ways that can be can be construed there. That's where I would defer to the Met team for them to do the voodoo that they do, because they can connect those things and do all that. So I can give you kind of wave top thing, but the Med team, they're the ones that actually will go in there and be able to review and see what can be done. Let's see, for example, control lower muscles, discomfort. Yeah, yeah, like sciatica, all those type of things. 100%. Yeah, so those are arguments that could be made, Cody. Um, let's see, filed, missed the PTSD exam. They allow me to come back the original date. Filed, missed the PTSD exam. They allowed me to come back to original. They added. Okay. Yeah. Biggest thing for you, symptoms. I have a 50 to 70, 70 to 100 video on the mental health side that you can scroll back a little bit there too. But the biggest thing is open Pandora's box in that regard there, in a sense of more so speaking to your symptoms, right? So when we're talking PTSD, especially MST and things like that, the biggest thing is it's a present tense conversation, right? And what I mean by that is when we're talking mental health or VA claim, it's not about what happened, but rather what's happening now. So in an instance, let's say, you know, we're talking I had a MST or I had PTSD or what have you. Okay, check. 10% of the conversation is what happened, but then 90% of the conversation is what's happening now. And that's what's hard for some veterans sometimes. It's talk about what's happening today. Again, the MST happened, but in turn now I have these issues that are affecting me in all these different ways, interpersonal relationships, etc. My symptoms, these gross appropriate behaviors, all these different things that are happening. Like that's the part that's not PC to talk about, right? Because I can, and again, I can't get too graphic on these things here because it's social media. In class, I get very graphic about these things, but you'd be surprised just how much people are not talking about what's happening now. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to mental health, what's actually happening. I put a video up on TikTok about the person with the gambling problem. And again, people are real quick to just label something, and that's why to me it's different. Like, there's nothing a veteran could tell me that I won't look at how to look at it backwards. So if somebody says a gambling thing, I'm like, no, no, why are you gambling? What's happening? Just the video is like, what is this happening inside? For some veterans, again, it's just this is the first time that I feel that I in turn am winning again. I'm getting this fix of a thing that I don't have anymore. Or someone who's been through an abuse, intimately, MST. You have women who are hyper, sexual. You have some that are not on the other side. And then that leads to activities and things that people do on both extremes because of that. So there are things that are happening at play there, but understanding why that is. Like one veteran we have, he literally pulled up like a stoplight and he was, touching himself, pleasuring himself. Not because he's a pervert, but that's the only time he felt a thing, that rush, the placebo, the whole taboo, rather, of the situation is when he felt the thing. And it's hard to understand, like, what's happening. Like, we do things that make no sense. Or I use the example of riding a motorcycle, right? When it's like damp outside. Why would you do that? Because maybe right in that moment of losing control of the motorcycle is when I feel something because I've suppressed all of my emotions, and the only time I feel a thing is right at the edge of chaos. But all you see is, oh, I'm trying to play with my life. I'm like, first of all, I don't give a damn with my life. I'm trying to check out. So let's just, put that to bed. I'd be okay if I wasn't here. You know what I'm saying? So again, understanding how all that works, right? That's a big thing. MST is a female. How does that affect my relationships? They all end the same. You don't open up, and no matter what the partner does, there's no getting through to a thing because no matter what, there's a wall that exists between us that you will never penetrate. So relationships are strained and destroyed, and no matter what the person tries to do to understand, they're always going to not be able to get but to a certain point. So there's so many factors when it comes to that, and how do you speak to those things and tell that story? You know what I'm saying? As far as like how that bothers and how that affects. You know what I'm saying? Think about it. I'm a woman who has MST, who has migraines, who has a back pain. It's not that I'm not in the mood to have a headache. It's that I have FSAD, female S arousal disorder, because of my MST. I have migraines and I have back pains and knee pains. Guess who's not trying to be provocative and do things that I wish I could do? I can't. You know what I'm saying? So like all of that thing comes into play, but then the part, how's that affect them? So there's so many things uh, that again, understanding how to be able to speak to these things and open up these things. 36 never married can't again, but every relationship, I promise you, Tiffany, every relationship ends the same. Every single relationship ends the same. Every relationship is simply to a degree, probably like this. I don't even know who you are. I try to get through and you keep pushing me away. And you're always, it's always like this block or whatever the case may be. I didn't do this thing to you. I didn't do that thing to you. I'm trying to be here for you. And it's like no matter what I say, it doesn't matter because there's this wall of what Tiffany had to become to survive. So flip it. I'm Tiffany. And it's like, I understand that you love me. I understand that you care about me. But here's the reality: you never met me. You never met who I really am because the person I really am literally had to become somebody else to survive. And what you've met, sadly, now is a defense mechanism that you can't penetrate. And I can't tell you if I'll be able to lower those defense mechanisms because of what happened, right? This happened and violated something inside of me that I can't get rid of. And to a good degree, no matter what happens, it's like the same repetitive thing. So now I go into every relationship the exact same way, and that happens both for men and for women. And you're sitting there trying to explain to someone, like, I want to be with someone, but I cannot. Everyone says you can't communicate, but the whole thing is, how can I communicate something when I don't have the words at times to do a thing, right? Like, I feel like the whole world is happening in front of me, and there's literally a glass enclosure that you can't see what's really happening. I'm going through emotion of a thing, but I want to feel, I want to care, I want to do a thing, you know? Let me see how I can say this very graphically without saying it too graphically. We had a veteran. We have many veterans that are MST, men and women. But one of them, the MST in this veteran's case, was so, traumatic to this veteran that they have not been able to intimately be with the opposite, right? So she can't bring herself to that because to today's day, it triggers. Check. But she still has needs. And the problem with this veteran is she can't even watch because, again, right? People watch things. She can't even watch a man and a woman. So the only thing close enough for her to feel some kind of arousal moment thing, whatever, by proxy is watching two women. But she's not attracted to a woman. But that's sadly the closest thing to an intimate situation to have that moment for her as a woman with needs. And how do you explain that? Because again, it's like, well, you're a lesbian. No, like you're not understanding how many things are happening here. So when we're talking about the psychological aspects, think about the, gross impairment of thought and process. I know what I am, but the fact of the matter is I don't understand, why I still kind of skew this way. Like I know a thing, but I can't. Or I see my aggressor, I see that thing, and no matter what happens, I see it. You can't tell me it's not there. One vet we have, her attacker, her aggressor, is locked up, but she sees him in the shadows. She has this hallucination. You can't tell her to get over it. It doesn't work that way. So these are all the different things that are hard for people to understand that like they're alive and well, and no matter how many years have passed, it's like a broken record. It keeps repeating over and over, right? I'm too easygoing and casual. I have so many words without them present, but then I can't communicate. Talk to, yeah, 100%. It's like so. It's again, I understand. That's what I would say. I understand because it's a complex thing, right? But for you, it's really going to speak about those really heavy things, uh, you know, that are embarrassing, right? People don't want to talk about that. Um, you know, the name of your company, I know a couple of guys. Links in my bio. Veteransnetwork.club is the website that I have. Range. Um, oh, Range. I was gonna say something. Jose Becton. He passed away. I don't know if you saw that or not. Jose Becton passed away. He did combatives in NIFO. I just saw he died of cancer. And you may not remember him. He was not in Viper with us. Um, There's a few other guys. One guy, took checked out, but he went somewhere else. But you may remember Jose Becton. He did the combatives in IFO. Yeah. Let's see. What is some advice you have for falling asleep fast? I'm the wrong person to ask. Look what I'm doing. I don't really have anything for you. I just literally worked myself to a complete, tired, abyss, and then, kind of crash. So, uh, I ain't got no tips or advice when it comes to sleep, because that thing eludes me. So let's see. If I file, I just wait, check. hmm Yeah. I couldn't make it down to his funeral, but I did hear, that he passed. So that's Jose, one of our old, colleagues from the fam service. Crazy. Digital Search Palmy and her friends. What's up? How do you start filing your BA before you get out, Chantel? I'm literally teaching a class on that tomorrow. Specifically, I'm doing a BTD class tomorrow. We're doing a live one, the first iteration of it. Then it'll be available online. But I'm talking through the active duty transition period for active duty personnel, BTD process, how to do all that, how to start prepping for that, all the things you need to do and so forth. So the biggest thing for that. I have a checklist on my profile that kind of talks about some things to do, but definitely getting seen, documents, records, etc. That's going to be a huge one, um, for sure. Let's see, as far as, yep, getting seen, getting things documented, that's a big one for sure. I have a checklist in my bio for that. Tomorrow I'm doing a class live, and we have a bunch of folks that have signed up for that. So that's going to be dope. And then that'll be available for on demand after. They have me down for an event, which would be my cab, and now have my yeah. So on your side, Tiffany, you have different things that are happening, so you can speak to two different stressors, and ultimately, obviously, they'll still award PTSD regardless of which way they go, um, on that. Should I just give my over? Yeah, well, because you're speaking to both, right? You're speaking to the cab and you're speaking to the MST as well, so they're both valid arguments, right? And then the VA can figure out how to piece which one they want as far as rating is concerned. So yeah. And service record proof of service connection. Yeah, not necessarily as far as proof of service connection. Um, let's see here. Let's see, wrapping, then small stretching. No, I'm not. I'm actually not even wearing it. That's the whole thing. So, but yeah, I guess so. Let's see. You're welcome. Let's see. They have alcohol abuse in my claim. No, I wouldn't add it because that can get tricky. Again, if it's something that you're diagnosed with, but that gets tricky because that also then starts to open Pandora's box as far as what came first, what causes what. So, if you have if you have a strong argument for the service connection, that'll be fine. But I wouldn't add things needlessly to it. Like, what's the rationale for that? I've been told to wear, sweatpants and not be put together. That's bullshit. No, I don't show up to a CMP looking like crap because I feel like crap. In your case, right, as a woman, this thing has done what to you? Why is there a neglect of personal hygiene? Not because you just showed up wearing pants one day. It's not the appearance. No, they don't. It's not what they look at. It's being able to understand why is it that I do not care for my appearance or my hygiene, etc. What is going on? That's the whole thing. When people do these little tactics of show up looking the thing, that's not going to do much for you because everybody does that. Everybody shows up in sweats and try to look all funky or whatever. Big cool story, bro. But speaking to why is that happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to you that you no longer, right? That's how I look at these things, right? So again, I spend a good amount of time uh, deep diving into those things in my CMP classes because people do um, a lot of you know of what you call it. Oh, right. Nearly. But yeah, a lot of folks try to just do some little, quick hacks to do a thing, but it's understanding how to speak to the symptoms. Like, what that's a symptom that you have, but what's causing that, right? It's manifesting in like the personal hygiene, but what's going on behind that? So it's not just they look at your appearance. What if you have a televised, a telehealth one like this? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna just look all, what I mean? Like, that's not. It's more than that. 3 years out, doctors. I know. 3 years out's not that long. I've had people with 50 years plus. So, um, let's see. You can have notes for sure. So I feel like I'm causing more stress. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're missing. It's like all these little tips that people give. You're missing the entire. point of what needs to happen, because everybody's doing into these little tips and tricks, and it's like, what does that have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I'm dealing with stuff where it's like, again, it's all to unpack, and I can't do that on social media because there's censorings, and I can't, say the things that I need to say in a thing like this. So that's a classroom thing, but it's more than just what you, um, you know, are dressed up as or what have you. Um, okay. Rated 90%. Apps are connected. They didn't rating for it. We'll do. We're trying. It could be. It could be. Again, what's rated, what's not rated. That might be a way to look at it. Nah, it's horror stories, but again, it really comes down to how you choose to argue that. Yeah, it's just doctors practice for healthcare. Doctors are not in the business of disability, so you're asking someone to do something that they just are not necessarily comfortable with doing. I went to med school to treat and be a doctor, not to sit here doing disability claims. I get it's the VA thing, but I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not, I didn't incur, six figures of debt to do that. So I mean, like, there's a reason where some of these doctors are very hesitant because they hear disability, they think Social Security. Diagnosed with hyperasm. When I signed up for the PAC Act, I didn't know it was asthma. Yeah. What's up? Alrighty. I think we're good. I think that puts us all above time there. Could you ask for an inhaler and more checkup? You can, for sure. But still, for the medical argument, that varies. All right, damn near 3 hours there. So there's that part. Jump on the newsletter. If you know someone needs a class, jump on that. Hopefully this was helpful. Appreciate y'all. If you're not following me on YouTube, what are you waiting for? But for sure, get on the newsletter. It was cool hanging out for a little bit. Make sure you talking to the right DP, because apparently I have imposters, so there's that part there. And feel free to share some of the stuff with some bets. Good luck on your mental health exam tomorrow. Check out the videos that I have for that, because it's a bunch of them, but you'll be good to go. Let me know how that goes for you. And outside of that, um, did you do the active duty class? No, it's tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. The active duty class for folks leaving active duty is tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So check the link in my bio and jump on in there. Love to see you there. So that is tomorrow. Let's see. We'll do feeling good after your class and videos. You got this. It's go time. But let's definitely keep me posted. Let me know how it goes. But yeah, tomorrow we rock and roll with the class. So let somebody know. The links in bio for that. Let's see. On YouTube, I think we're good. We got everybody answered and good. And on the talk, we're good. So I think we will call it a do. I appreciate y'all, and we will be back next time.